Peace, peace. Who is out here? We are live now, 7:02. I am 2 minutes late. You know, boy, every week here now seems like an entire month. But it should be where every week goes by and you guys can't finish all the work that you're trying to do, which is usually how all my weeks go. They always go like that. But just want to say peace to everyone. It's really great to see everyone here. I got some questions that I have collected over the week. Right? And by the way, I always say this in the beginning as a just to make sure that everybody isn't neglected and stuff. It is very difficult for me to go through all the emails. Remember, like, just try to imagine the emails. I have a lot of students already, though. I don't want to put a number on it, though. But, like, over the years, I've taught hundreds of students. So it's always a lot of students, and I ask them all to keep digital. So there's a lot of stuff that I would get. But I also sift through a lot of emails of music. So it's a lot of stuff to sift through, and I try to prioritize. But I may neglect or miss someone in that time. So if you send me an email and I may have sent you something back and it wasn't everything that you were needing, asking, just let me know. Let me know, and I'll get all that information, to you as we go along. And it's okay to harass me because we have this thing digital. Let's try to keep it like real life, where, if the teachers you were dealing with didn't get you your things on time, and you were okay to harass them and get them to get you those things on time. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's definitely the case. So if I miss something, please let me know, because I feel like I emailed everybody, but I don't think that. I feel like something didn't get answered, or I didn't answer completely. All right, so let me know. It's always a thing. Let's see, I shared most of these things. I'm looking through the social media because I was a little slow today in getting into the social media, doing a lot of work, but let's see if I can make sure I collect all the questions that people could use and stuff. I do have some over the week answering emails and such. I have a couple of questions. And if you have your questions now, please add them on. Get them in there, whenever you can, as we go along. Okay, and as you see the way I go through things, this is really like how it would go. I always like to know what would happen. And I'm saying this, why am I saying this? Well, if we went back in our other classes on pedagogy and the way that you teach, what I like to do is make sure that everyone is comfortable, make sure that everybody knows what they're doing, make sure that I know, most importantly for myself, the most important thing for myself is that I know why people are here. Why did they come here? Why are they here? So this is a place. Remember, the classroom, and I always keep repeating this, the classroom. We're talking about classroom, a place where a student is acknowledged as such. I'm gonna explain why I say this stuff. A place where a student is acknowledged as such. The classroom, a place where a student is acknowledged as such and expected to experiment with what they are learning. Okay? Basically experimenting with high explosives. I write it out because it's something that's not really acknowledged. And what I mean by this, look what the wording is immediately awkward. classroom, a place where a student is acknowledged as such. That's for you, because a student is everywhere. Is being a student everywhere. Okay? We always look at ourselves as students. Then there are only places where we are more acknowledged as a student. Okay? Right? And there's a reason why this is important to also notice. Right? As a student is being a student everywhere, then right? And the student, peace to God, peace to all the gods, earths, human families that are taking the time out of their busy schedule and stuff to even listen to me say anything, But and the student is always one who is willing to be wrong about anything at any given, right? So think about this, and how we engage in this classroom, digital classroom, is that the classroom, if you're a student everywhere, then what is the difference in being in the classroom? Is that you actually said that now I'm being a student, so that means that based on what I just said, that you're actually going to be wrong. You understand? You're a student. Now you ought to work hard enough where you are wrong. And if you're not being found to be wrong, right? You're not engaging as intelligently, as qualitative, working as hard as you can to learn things, or find out the things that you don't know, then that means that you're never going to steep into that moment in the classroom where you're actually wrong. You see, in the westernized world, because they have to gauge everything, the student is expected, to keep things propelling itself and making functional people in society, submissive to authority, and also useful in the society at the levels that they allow, that they accept, that they desire, right? And for us, black, brown, original people would be very low level, right? The lowest levels of means. And it doesn't really matter if we excel, because they expect us that these great ideas that we would have, we would also be able to push ourselves to excel it and push it out to the masses. And it would be all on us, So even when the world is greater for it, the greatness of one doesn't justify them changing the reality for the populace. And that's one thing people don't often realize, Obviously, most of us here coming realizations of oppression, we notice that. But here we go. If you go into the classroom, you are absolutely now a student, so you're expected to be wrong. So how can we engage in a place where we're not foolishly wrong, but usefully wrong? Okay, so the student in the classroom needs to work hard enough to be usefully wrong. See, getting this knowledge of self, it's knowledge of self. That means that if I say it, it's about Sunez. If you say it, it's about you. So that means that when we get this knowledge of self, if you don't have any particular questions, if you don't take the course into a direction that is based on you, and you don't make, let's say in this case, me, Sunez, that the P.E.A.C.E course is now altered based on the reality of me being in the class, the questions, the directions that I expect, right? Then you're doing yourself a disservice in the course that under all umbrellas, whether I call it the P.E.A.C.E course, whether it's called a civilization class, is about the knowledge of self, not the knowledge of Sunez, and that you're learning about how you're like me. And that's really like an add-on to the sentence, but it's really about you. So now you have to really realize, well, what do I do as a student to put myself in a place where I'm usefully wrong? And I know that sounds crazy, but think about it. We have to make the type of questions, engage in the type of curriculum where you find out what you don't know and then what you do need to know. and yet you figure out and are able to put into words what you really don't understand. Okay, and putting it into the words of questions, right? Into questions. Okay, this is an activity that I talk about, and it just sounds simple, right? And I'm biased because as the teacher, obviously, it makes things easier if if you guys ask all the questions, and then if they're real questions that you want to know. The thing about it is that the teacher is supposed to do that himself, right? But in the digital world, though, I don't know who you are. I have to find out who you are. That's why I was talking about the emails in the beginning, because if I don't remember all the emails, if I don't take note of all the emails, then I don't have all of the information that I could use, right, to decide what type of questions to be able to answer for you as the student, right? So that's one thing. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? When, as usual, I often go into a different place when I'm talking about these things, right? Okay, so right now I'm just posting the class session in a couple of groups. That way, if people want to check it out, they can come check it out. But I do have some questions that I collected. I didn't know if I absolutely developed this lesson as deeply as I wanted to, but so I don't know if I'll go deeper into the justice curriculum because I'm not quite finished with that. As far as expanding it, I didn't quite finish the lesson that would expand on the actual reference material. So there's an addendum lesson to the justice curriculum where these subjects are going to have an add-on. I didn't quite finish that, and I don't want to do it like 7 out of 10 or something like that. I want to devote like the time to give you all that information because it's easier for you that if you miss it, you could go back to one video and collect it all. Okay, so I'm probably gonna leave that out. But one of the other things is that I want to go through this P.E.A.C.E course digitally and really kind of get everyone, and have been trying to get everyone acquainted to how the nature and the ways and means by how I have taught all these years. Okay, so I want to give you insights into some of the things that I've been teaching over these years, and such the platform. Okay, such is the platform that we are building. So right on the side right now, I'm going through my main, still not digital, all the way digital, because it takes a lot of typing. But these are all plus lessons of my own writing that I teach in the classroom. A lot of it has been memorized, a lot of it hasn't. A lot of it is fused with other things, so you'll see familiarities in my own, obviously because they are my own understanding, right? And they will get there. So I think for tonight's class, as we go deeper into the session, I'm going to go through my progress questions. The 10 P.E.A.C.E progress questions for the dedicated student. And they're very similar. That you can see that a lot of my teachings, they build off each other, and I try to recreate the lessons, kind of like Eric Sermon when he finds a good sample and he keeps mining it and making a lot of classics off that one great sample. Songs are different, but they're kind of like the same, And if you know Eric Sermon, though, are a fan of one of the great producers, as he is, then you know what I mean, right? All right, so I'll probably go. I'm pretty sure I will go through this as we go along. Okay. Yeah, and this one though, it's gonna take. You'll have to take good notes because I'm looking through my digital class notes and I've never digitized this. And this is like 3 pages of a lot of typing. But this is really old. This is from 2004. So this is something that, and again, these become the foundation of how I've taught this course. So really trying to have us proceed in the way that I've always structured, you know? All right, so does anybody have any questions about anything? Peace, Powerball. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay, I'm just looking for my questions here. I could have sworn I wrote them here. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to say something that has happened. I'm not going to talk about the situation, but I am going to talk about the lessons of the situation. Okay? The first thing is this. Every single class that I'm writing, though, because I ask you, none of the assignments, the major assignments that I have, are the assignments that I don't ask, that I ask of you, are things that I don't do myself, okay? And that's why I said it's structured around reading, writing, communication skills. But even when we venture off into diet, and if anyone is interested, you let me know, because I have the lesson I'm going to go into, because it's a very early lesson. But if you want to go through diet and the major diet protocol, that'll help. I could do that too. It all depends on what you're telling me here in the live chat. But and give you some framework to begin, though, because we may need that too. You know, we may need that too. Let me write that down, because I may go through some of that too. That's a plus lesson that I do have digital, right? What I like to call a living foods protocol. Okay, and the reason I don't call it just a vegan protocol is because on a simple basis, I love honey. No, but seriously, I want people to focus on the real point of this, and the real point of diet is what you're eating and not what you're not eating. Okay, because in this pursuit of healthiness, everybody's still patting themselves on the back for not eating a certain food, but we're still here, so we're eating something, and that's what's more important. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's peace. That's peace. Definitely would like to do it outside. All right. Definitely like to do it outside. Okay, so let me open up one more where that my Peace Course class file. I actually didn't open it yet, and that's why I don't have my questions in front of me. Okay. I'm too busy watching Michael Jordan's 1997-98 The Last Dance seasonal clips, because they are on YouTube. Okay. Let's see where it is. Okay. All right, so we have everything. I have everything open. Let's look at these questions here that I can answer immediately. All right. All right. All right, these are questions for people, but the first thing I want to talk about, though, is the 5% media, okay? And I write that here, 5%media.com, okay? The reason the immediate thing is that I put the notes of the class general, so you can follow or see what, it has Peace 793rd. I put the notes of the class at the end of the class, and it should be up for all of the classes. But what I'm also doing now, and I started last week, is that I post this class link into the 5% media in my Peace Course column. And it doesn't add that much to it, but I give you a little bit of perspective on what I was thinking about the class and what may have been missed and what we could do, okay? To kind of get you in the idea that even as teachers, we're still students of ourselves, and we're always looking at how we're teaching and stuff. So all these places, whether it's in the column on 5% Media, the Peace Course column in 5percentmedia.com, or here in the comments section of YouTube, or in my email, sunez97@gmail, right? These are all places where you can contact me about any questions or anything like that, okay? And so those are a lot. The other thing about 5% Media, though, is this, right? Understand this, right? And this is for everybody. And this is probably not for students, though, but for anyone that's watching that's in this nation for a long time and is just doing analysis Sunez, okay? 5% Media is a journalistic form, okay? It's intended to share ideas to the mass populace about this nation, okay? There's always going to be things that people feel isn't for everybody, okay? But in all the perspective that we write the articles, I know that everyone's trying to write them so anyone can understand them and follow them, right? So it's most useful to a newborn, most useful to people that aren't even in the nation, but just respect some of the things that we say, some of the things that we you know, the way we see certain things. But understand, though, that with all that said, though, there's going to be stuff that you don't like to hear. You know what I mean? And if people want to qualify themselves, then qualify yourselves with your own work, though. You know what I mean? Qualify yourselves, and this is for everybody. Qualify yourselves with your own work, right? Not with the narratives of what you think people have done. Some of the criticisms I've seen about articles in the website are really the most pathetic to me, because people haven't read the actual pieces. So it's a lot of wisdom knowledge. You're not reading the pieces. You can't criticize a piece if you don't read it. I saw a piece from one of my brothers in there, and I was like, oh man, he put this in there, he talked about this, because I don't know what everybody's writing. And I look in there, and I do the knowledge, and then I read it, and then I realized that what I disagreed with was exactly what he disagreed with. But in order for him to disagree with it, he had to present it to the world first, right? And then say, hey, this is what I disagree with. Let me tell you why, okay? So we got to do the knowledge, man. You know what I mean? 5percentmedia.com, though, is going to have the same problems another website, you know, is going to have the problems any website has if people react to it like they react to other articles that get shared on the web and on Twitter, where it's just clickbait. You know what I'm saying? And if you just go by the title of the piece, or if you just go by the subtitle of the piece, that could be something you don't like. But if people are going to give me criticism about pieces that are in there, first off, I'm only really responsible for the pieces that I wrote, but I'm willing to speak about the other pieces, okay? Because I'll bring it to the cipher, right? Read the article first. Do the knowledge first. Actually read the article before you start complaining about stuff, okay? When people complaining about stuff and they didn't read any of the pieces that were there, you know what I'm saying? They didn't read them, you know? So that's my big problem, though, you know? Like, we have actual, you know, a position where you could really critique something and really make it better for us to do this better, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of people act like they're qualified, and you didn't even read the pieces, and they want to out-qualify people. The amount of experience that I have as a journalist, just me and the God Day Son doing this, and there's other people in doing this, but just me and him together, though, are older than nearly everyone that's on this thing, you know? So that's probably about, I don't know, at least 50 years. At least 50 years doing journalism. So if people have criticisms, the least they could do is read the piece. Read the pieces that are on there. give us feedback, tell us why that they shouldn't go on there, or what we should do to be better, and then we do the knowledge. Because even with all this experience in the fields of journalism and having this knowledge this long, this is a new field of presentation, and it's mixing two different things. You know, we're mixing two different audiences, and it's something to take note of when you build. When we build digitally, we're mixing the audiences of the 85 and the 10% and the 5%. So let's forget about the 10%. Let's pretend that they're invisible because we're not altering ourselves for them. But you have two types. You now have two types, and you can even bracket the 85 further. So when we build on these social platforms, whether digitally, website articles, media in this case, social media, which now the classroom is here on these social media, forums, you have the 5%, right? Which we're telling something to them, and then there's doing analysis. So let's say, let me do the analysis as soon as I never checked this class, or I haven't been there in a long time. Let me see what he's about. And if they disagree or agree, or if they say, hey, maybe you could do this, or maybe you could do that, right? And, obviously, for me, since I'm using myself as an example, I want it from people that's qualified, though. You know what I'm saying? I don't want, the guy that's been going to rallies forever and hasn't really done shit to tell me stuff about how to do stuff. But Darkim could tell me anything that he wants. You know what I'm saying? That's just the fact of it. You know what I'm saying? I really don't want to hear from people that been around for a long time, though, and probably the only thing they've done more than me is bought more 5%, clothing. You know what I mean? With the flag on it, right? Because I got low grades on that. Most of my gear used to come from Dr. Fun fact, most of my gear with the flag on it used to come from Dr. Janelle. He would make the clothes. He would make them in my size. So there's not many guys as short as me. And then he would put my name on it. So if I said, nah, God, I can't really buy that. It's like, nah, but this leather jacket says Sunez on it. And I'm like, damn, gotta buy it. He'd make a shirt. He'd put Sunez on that shit. You know what I mean? So it would be like that. Darkim, that's the good question, It's really supposed to be both. Now, for example, like Daysun wrote an editorial, right? Those are clearly defined as editorials. So now the other aspects of it are mainly supposed to be, informative based. The majority of the site is informative based. You know what I mean? Now, I think that probably with the stuff that I'm writing would probably be more understanding based, like my insights and presenting what I'm doing to the populace. So I did a really long piece on Rakim's autobiography. That's more like an opinionated piece, though, even though I'm critiquing, aspects that are related to the nation and stuff, and then people could still go like, oh, I don't agree with the way Sunez disagreed or agreed with Rakim in this case. That's going to happen there. So you have like that mixture. You always get that mixture of like personal understanding, maybe even opinion, right? Because let's say in that piece, I put my opinions about the book structure and stuff, and maybe other people didn't have that thought, or agree with that thought about my disagreements about the technical structure of the book. But then other stuff is going to be informative, and it broaches both. So like in my Peace Course column, though, no one could really tell me like that it can't have an opinion, even though it's informative about the class. So some of them is going to broach, but generally, the usefulness though is mainly informative based, what's going on, what people can do, you know what I'm saying? And from what I've seen, God, right? From what I've seen, Darkin, because honestly, I'm working to read everything that's on it. I have not read everything on it, most of the stuff is supposed to be informative, you know what I mean? And of course, though, if you get like a profile, like the profile on Mala Divine, technically a profile interview is going to have some of his opinions on it. So it would mix informing about him, but then opinions about, everyone else. So it would have that mixture, but generally informative, not, opinion based, where we're throwing up plus lessons. You know what I'm saying? Like throwing up plus lessons and things like that. That's not for me. For me, God, I don't think that it should be a place for like just throwing up plus lessons and things like that. I think that it should be in the vein of the way I did the Mecca mission. When I was doing Mecca mission, my intent was not to be like the power paper, okay? Never to be like the power paper, even though that caused a lot of confusion because the other brothers that I work with thought it should be that, right? I never designed it that way, and I never intended to work that way. And I made knowledge growing, since, we're talking about these things, that when I made the Mecca mission would be a paper from the school to the populace. So it would be to the populace, not really for the nation. So everything that we talked about was supposed to be simplified, no, deeper mathematics like that, nothing like that. Just general stuff that people could use and draw them into the fray. You know what I'm saying? To at least know what we're doing for the Harlem community. That was what that was supposed to be. So to me, the way I see a public forum like the 5% media page is kind of the same thing. It's kind of the same thing, It's kind of the same thing. I don't, see it any different. Or the way I see it, I'm sure that Day Son, who's always been the ringleader, who has been the leader to a complete social media gathering under the 5% banner, okay? He's been working on stuff like this since 2000, okay? So, to me, he has the defining insight to all of this, I can mainly tell you how I have always agreed to add on with it in that fray, Then how I did the works that I did, what I'm saying? Like Mecca Mission newspaper, Yeah, and the point was to branch out, and stuff like that, And the thing is, to get other writers and stuff and to get their ideas and to, to cover how it is in other areas and stuff, and things like that, But yeah, I think that answers it, somehow Darkham suggested somehow these articles need to be organized so we know when we are reading something more editorial, something more informative for the nation, or something that's informative to the community as a whole. Yeah, that's a good suggestion. That's a good suggestion because some of the articles are under the banner of editorial. We do have an editorial banner, right? So there's an editorial thing here, So like some of the articles that people had disagreements with it, they were already under editorial, Yeah, so that's being done, But yeah, I like yeah, but like something informative for the nation versus the community and stuff like that. That's good. I don't really know the answer to that, so that's a good brainstorm to how to do it where it's simple, where we can advertise things to the community and then to the 5% community. It's not as simple as, because like, you don't want to, when you do this kind of stuff, we're teaching the people, so we don't want to separate, and then we don't also want to make it like I'm just being funny here, but like we don't want to be like, yo, this is for the 85, this is for the 85 blind, deaf, and dumb people, and this is for those that be with it. You know what I mean? Like, how do we branch that off like that? How do we do that? You know what I mean? So we do it like that. It'll be real easy though, Click if you use the 85 blind, deaf, and dumb. You just click over here though, And if you don't know if you're blind, deaf, and dumb, see if you can answer these 10 questions. If you can't, then no. But how would we section that off? You know what I mean? Right, patient. But yeah, that's definitely a thing. Let me copy that suggestion because just to share with the gods of 5% media, so that way they could do the analysis there. Yeah, that's a good suggestion. Like there should be tabs, like each article is posted under certain tab. Well, Black Power Fit, we do have that. If you really do the knowledge though, that's being sectioned off. You know, so like if you look under the tabs, I don't know if the tabs are that clean. Like, let's say for example, you go under culture, you'll see history, politics, and then the peace course. But when you go under the click peace course, you'll see my columns and stuff, but you won't see them as neatly as they should. You'll see my immediate course, but then not the other one. Because I wrote two pieces. There's two pieces. The one about the last week's course, but then also the general peace course article about the entire course, you know, and some of its history and its direction, right? So we're still fixing the categories, because sometimes on WordPress sites the categories merge, and sometimes they merge together, so it's hard to section off. So sometimes you can see something put in a category, but it shows up in another category because it fits the description. So that's like a difficulty of technicalities that is being worked out now. You know? Okay. Right, I see where you come from, Doc Kim. Definitely, yeah. It's definitely, I definitely bear witness to your suggestion. You know what I'm saying? Because that's definitely, definitely something to make it more simple and more directive. But like what people aren't always getting is that, like, once we get the responses from people, then we know who's the audience, who we're speaking to, and who's interested in this on all levels. You know what I'm saying? So, like, people, let's say, like, for example, based on the people that engage with, let's say, the 5% media page on the Facebook page, or on the internet, or on the IG, then we kind of get a picture of what people want to see, what they want to know, and we get a picture of who, so those are all important, those are all important with that, Yeah, but yeah, my general beef was like people criticized it, but they didn't read the articles yet, which was like, because even in the honorable world of journalism, you still need something to make clickbait. You know what I'm saying? So you don't want to have like a defamatory or some crazy, illogical name, but you do want to have, something that draws people in. Halftime, peace to halftime. Peace. How many submissions would you estimate that you start with in a given week before release? Now, all of us have a set amount that we're trying to get through, like 3 or 4 pieces a month, quality pieces, try to throw up news pieces as we get to, so there's no like set amount that we have to get. We're just trying to load it up, we're trying to load it up, and in the beginning though, we have the biggest loads. So like, it's just trying to organize it all and really get a framework with it. But it's really about getting people to know who's in the nation, what people in the nation are doing. I think like a real a piece that really stands out is probably like a piece that is what we're looking for is, profiles about people. You know what I'm saying? Like Mala Divine and stuff like that. Profiles, like let us know like what people are doing and stuff like that. Along with the basic information, right? Powerborn, the interview with him. You know what I'm saying? Like this is the kind of stuff that we're looking to do, because people could have we've had knowledge of stuff, but that doesn't mean that we even know what's going on in different areas of the country or the globe or the world, in the world, right? But yeah, so hope that answers the question. I'm supposed to have a certain amount of articles and stuff like that, but I'm not always that type of writer. I'm a very calculating writer, you know what I mean? So sometimes I am slower than mandated, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm so used to writing pieces that are my own creation, and even if they're informative, they have a lot of my own embellishments of poetic prose. So it takes me a little bit longer. So I have to get into news mode and in and out. So I'm still at the beginnings of this type of stuff myself, right? So we're all getting into that mode. But understand that it's being defined as we go along. It's being defined. So whether people have negative or positive response, is still defining that, you know, and it's all useful and necessary, right? Okay. All right, so I think I said enough about 5% media. I didn't get any drama. I'll probably get drama later. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you know, so and mind you, like lately, and this is a lot of times with the projects that I'm in, it happens to be one of the things that is consistent with these projects is that I happen to be in them. And a lot of the projects and media that the nation is doing lately that I happen to be in, people are worried about cannibalizing or taking a spot and stuff. And I try to be sincere or try to be humble and front running about it and say, I'm not trying to take anybody's spot. I'm not trying to cannibalize any other 5% media and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And it still becomes a narrative, an incorrect narrative from, you know, old people and young people alike in my own age group that is making those incorrect statements. So I would make it clear just so I finish and I could move on. Everything that I do for myself in hip hop and in the nation, no one's in the realm. No one is my competition. No one is competing with me. Okay, because the truth is, and the non-humble opinion, right? Because we talked about humility, and now I would be incorrectly humble here and uselessly humble here. So I have to gauge it right. No one's on the level I'm at though with this. So no one's doing the stuff that I'm doing. My competition are the last things that I wrote. Okay, the competition that I have is the last thing that I wrote, not the thing that you put out, not the thing that someone else put out. No one's in the realm of my competition. So if I'm doing something for the nation, it's for the nation, and it's not to cannibalize anybody else. Okay? And that includes Mecca Mission, that includes 5% media, that includes this peace course, that includes everything. Okay? It's not in the lane. No one is in the lane at all. No one is in my circumference. No one is here. Okay? No one's revolving around me. Okay? The criticisms that you have, let it be based on what the pieces are actually saying inside the piece. Okay? That's how you keep the peace. Right? Like that. Yeah, and it's crazy, Supreme Scientist, that I really do have to say that, because there are some people that they got knowledge of self and they're doing what they're doing, and that's cool. You're doing what you're doing, though. No one ever hears me say anything about it, though. I don't step into situations and go, yo, I'm going to do this the right way because y'all been doing it wrong. I don't do any of that. I don't do any of that. I want us to take over the whole globe and have pieces of our stuff everywhere. You know what I mean? Everywhere. You know, no one's shooting up. New York Times is not shooting up AM Metro. You know what I'm saying? So if we want to be on some real cruel type of stuff, a lot of AM Metros are getting mad at me and they're putting out AM Metro. I'm on New York Times. I'm putting out New York Times though, and you're talking about AM Metro. That I'm in the way of your AM Metro. Serious? Man, you gotta, you know what I'm saying? Do what you do, you know? Instead of when I was doing stuff and I was learning to write these plus lessons and all that kind of stuff, right? I remember Dumar never had to like say those plus lessons are trash though. Oh, what he's writing is trash or this and that. What he would do is like, oh, you like those? You like those, Sunez? This is what he do. Yeah, you like those? And out of his trench coat, he go, peace God, you gotta get this. Understanding. Give me understanding, you got this one. That's how he was though. Never had to compete though. Just would be like, and pull out his joint right there. You know what I mean? So I shouldn't have to have squabbles with family. You know what I'm saying? About stuff like that. You know what I mean? I shouldn't have to have that. You know what I mean? That's out of hand stuff, you know? Because it's like it's not even fair, you know what I'm saying? It's not even fair. Why would I want to compete with you? You know? If I was going to compete with you, then I would say, you know what I'm saying? And when we compete, don't do the wisdom knowledge. If you have real beef with somebody, quote. If I have problems with the problems I have with Wakil, there's a lot of things I could make fun of. I could make fun of the way he dresses, the way he builds, all that corny shit. I go at what he says. I go at and quote you quotes from his book. You know what I'm saying? I show you what's wrong with it. I'm not, like, yo, he talk corny. Seriously? Maybe, right? But come on, we gotta be substantial with this stuff and not deal with narratives like that. Sound like babies over here. You know what I mean? Just babies. Right? Let everybody do what they're doing, though. Let everybody do what they're doing. All right. Rant is over. You know what I'm saying? And you know what's crazy? I was able to do this rant without cursing. So I'm happy about that. You know what I mean? Because I got a lot of spaces to curse. Right? All right. Question. Right? Question that I was asked. And it was on the previous class. And I told the brother, I think he's here. Right? Is he here? About but. But brings rain, hail, snow, and earthquakes. Right? The way I was taught. Right? That question was changed to but. The original is what brings rain, hail, snow, and earthquakes, right? And it's grammatically correct. What brings rain, hail, snow, and earthquakes, right? It's grammatically correct in the original supreme wisdom of the Nation of Islam. The father changed it. This is what I was taught by firstborn prince. The father changed it to but, and it was basically as a teaching tool. See, I think sometimes we forget, right, that a lot of the things that the father was doing was based on teaching tools, right? And we want to look at the 13th degree in the 1 to 40 as like one of the greatest examples of using 120 to teach. And yeah, I didn't want to say it like that, Powerborn, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, publish something without typos, and then we could talk. Like, how about that? You know what I mean? Publish something that has paragraphs. Where there's a paragraph break after 500 words. You know what I mean? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? And I don't even want to say stuff like that. That's bougie grammar because, Gabriel Garcia Marquez, right? He wrote a book, and I don't know how many sentences it is. I gotta look it up. I don't think anybody's ever counted he wrote one of his novels. It's a great novel. I'm in the midst of reading it, where it's an entire run-on sentence. He refuses to start. So you read about maybe 5 or 6 pages, and there's no periods. It's one of the most engaging books, and he writes so engagingly that you don't even know. You don't put the book down because there's no periods, though, so you don't know where to stop. You know what I mean? The book has no chapters, no nothing. It's just that. Let me look it up because it's such a great book. You know what I mean? I'm in the midst of reading it, but I haven't read it I haven't checked back with it in a while. So let's see the name of the book. Oh yeah, The Autumn of the Patriarch. Yeah, let me write that down, man, just in case people are interested. But seriously, just make this a teaching tool right now, what I'm saying here. Writing and grammar is a lot like the way Miles Davis had issues with Ornette Coleman. I'm not saying Ornette Coleman can't play, but what Miles Davis said. When Ornette Coleman came out with his free jazz works, it sounded like a mess to Miles Davis. And for him, Ornette Coleman didn't know how to technically play. And Miles Davis said in his autobiography, and said in other places that was documented, he said that I don't like what he's doing because you can't mess with the rules of things, meaning make your jazz piece, improvise, if you don't know how to play it in the first place. So you got to get your game up of how to do something before you play with it. You know what I'm saying? You got to know how to dribble technically, regular dribbling, before you start doing that between the legs, behind the back, over the shoulders type stuff, whatever it is. You know what I mean? Right? So it's kind of like that, and you know, the real, when it comes to writing, the real worth of writing is being able, having an understanding that is unique to you, and so you feel that, and to your best ability, you realize that it is unique to the world. It will be unique when it's shared to the world. You don't always know, but you are sure that it will be unique to the world. And so now the gift of the writer is to be able to express that understanding and actually put it down and make sense of it. The great writer will be able to beautify it in such a way where it becomes a piece of art. Okay? You don't need to be that last thing. You just need to be able to, write. Yeah. And Clara, I wish I could read Spanish that well, where I could read his books in Spanish, though. I can't. You know what I mean? I'm not even close, though. I'm Dr. Zeus level, reading Spanish. You know what I mean? And one day when I get my Spanish reading ability up, I'm going to go back and read 100 Years of Solitude and all these books like that. But the thing is that the foundation is your understanding. So it doesn't matter who's writing what. That's peace. Who's writing what? Who's doing what? We're all sharing unique understanding, though. And that's why all these publications, all this stuff, it needs to exist. Right? There's no way that I could encapsulate all of the insight that everybody has, because they don't have my insight, and I certainly don't have all the insight that they have. You know what I'm saying? Right now, if you're on the social media, though, and you're not watching my class and also Dark Kim's class and researching other things from other gods that have stuff on the web like Saladin, you're not really utilizing the YouTube, let alone all the other forums. Well, But going back to Bud brings rain, hail, snow, and earthquakes, the way I was told from Firstborn Prince was that the elders were Dark Kim, you're here. I don't know if Dark Kim is always going to be on in what he usually would be his class date, which would be Tuesday, 6 p.m. ish hour, so the Tuesday evening. But pretty much Dark Kim is always online, so you always want to check. There's going to be a video of him everywhere. He's blessing. He's in the an abnormal flood and blitzing of YouTube. So there's countless videos of Dark Kim building. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy, Dark Kim, because I had to roll with you all through P.E.A.C.E to get all of this stuff, and you're giving it out on the YouTube, man. They're sitting back eating chips, and stuff, getting all the shit you giving out. You know what I mean? But but yeah, so Dark Kim has a lot of stuff on the internet. You know what I'm saying? But on YouTube especially, And don't take note, because he doesn't mention it, but Dark Kim's a great MC, and he has an album, Son of Joseph, right? On Bandcamp. So that's a dope album, Yeah. You know how to do it, though. There we go, multi-talented, as we all should be. You know what I'm saying? Because one of the goals of this class is that you engage in things. If you don't have a talent or things that you do for yourself, you need to go find them. You know what I mean? Right? You need to go find them. But as I was saying, Firstborn Prince told me that the father changed that to but, because that was the answer when he asked the gods. Every time he asked one of the students, one of the gods, did you do such and such, or did you, whether a degree or whether they did something to go get some, they would always answer but. So he's like, but brings rain, hail, snow, and earthquakes. So, excuse me, it literally was a teaching tool, of the greatest kind, amazing, And I always found that story funny, though. But you understand, he was teaching, he was teaching teenagers, man. Teenagers that had no supervision. He was the pedagogy he always had to think about was, how do I funnel all of these talents? I don't want to filter them. There's a difference. I don't want to filter them. I don't want to do what the westernized school system does and take away their greatness so they could just perform certain things. You know what I mean? I want to funnel them. I want all their greatness to just be funneled where they can control it and point it in the right direction. You know what I'm saying? And that's what he was doing. And when he did that, Bud brings rain, hail, storms, earthquakes. That was it. You know what I'm saying? You know, because if you're saying Bud did it, then that means that they continue daily to teach the 85%. That all they see and hear is says rain, hail, storm, comes from that mystery God that no one will ever be able to see until they die. But he's always putting it on them. Always actualizing, helping people to actualize the insight that he was sharing. So I forgot who it was that asked me that question. I think that they're in here. I don't want to assume who it was, but that's pretty much the answer. Oh yeah, I'm looking here. First one says. Okay, let me see. The first degree of the 1 to 40 says original people. And then the 9th and 10th degree says Son of Man. I'm not really sure what you mean by that. What do you mean by the first degree saying Son of Man? Pretty much they're synonymous though. They're not really different, you know what I mean? In this case, Right? So, that wouldn't be a difference as far as that. It's I gotta think about it. I never got like an understanding that would be different. Like, why do they mention original people, use that term, and then other times they might just say Son of Man, However, I will say one thing. When they mention Son of Man, no, it's usually based in degrees that talk about a decision. So to symbolize that the decision was made by a collective that is actually the ones with the insight and a decision that was collectively instituted, then they talk about that. When they talk about original people, they're talking about a bulk of people. It may not be talking about the directive. Those who are giving out the directives. So that would be the case. You know what I'm saying? If I had to say, they kind of presume an understanding out of that, because it doesn't mean that there's definitive. I'm just saying, like, what would be the main difference? You know what I'm saying? Right? What would be the main difference? I'm not, And that was word 60, and that question was way back up there. I just happened to, Okay, I also heard you say Son of Man is in. It says, oh, is there something we should keep on over here? Okay, let me catch up. 24 scientists equals people. Yes, thank you, Supreme Scientist. One of the things people do is they really mystify that aspect. Do not mystify this, though. Just like any living place that makes a society, there is the government of people that govern and collect the consensus of a people. You could call that the 24 scientists. You know what I'm saying? There is no mystery. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like we keep thinking like it's the 36th chamber with everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not always like that. We have elders, and they're the most learned, and they're collecting the insights of the populace. You know what I'm saying? And that's what happens. All right, let me read these comments here so I can catch up and see if I can answer these even more distinctly. When you say 9th and 10th degree, you're talking about the 1 to 14, right? As opposed to the 1 to 4. Because the 1 to 14, if you notice, those aren't the only, the only places, that, well, yeah, those are the places where they're mentioned, But yeah, when it's something, definitive, though, you usually see the Son of Man. You know what I'm saying? But it's not always. Let me write these notes. I'm behind in the notes here. Yeah. Okay. Keep me alone in here. Okay, let me catch up here. Okay, I went to my notes and then there's like a million more things in the. All right, okay. It's like doing the class exclusively online. It's like radio because I always get shook when I hate dead air. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to keep you abreast of what I'm doing. You know. All right. So when you say ninth degree in the 1 to 40, I don't see Son of Man. 10th degree, yes. I went back because I'm quoting it ahead, and I'm not recalling Son of Man. You know what I mean? Conceal the true living God, make slaves out of 85%. By keeping the motion, son that rich from their labor, 85%. No, that means there's no serious thunder about that. But I try to learn who these are close to that, but 5% easy to believe, and 10% on face value. So, no, 9th degree in the 1 to 40 doesn't have that. Okay? The 10th degree does. But like I said, that's my understanding. When they talk about the Son of Man, though, they talk about like the body of people. You know what I mean? And in this case, though, it emphasizes a body of learned people that made a final decision about it. So that's why the Son of Man is there. Every time I see Son of Man, it's more of a determined body of people. You know what I mean? Right? So, because remember, it's not just that people were searching for that. It has to be declared that this would be a waste of time. Okay? So if you notice in that degree, in that degree, there's a decree. There's the statement that we have searched for that which does not exist. We will waste no more time searching for that which does not exist. That's actually a decree. Okay, so it's been stated. So the Son of Man, like those learned individuals that realized that all this research was for naught. Okay, and that means that realistically they found research that reveals more and more that the original man is God. And like we created all this. Why are we going outside of ourselves when all the answers we continue to find within ourselves? Okay, so it's not so much that we wouldn't continue to search for ourselves. It means that the way of research became disoriented, looking outside of oneself and not looking back within the framework of self. Right? So it's a decree by those who are learned. You know, a lot of times when they mention the original people, though, technically a lot of degrees it could include 85%. You know, it could include the 85% within those aspects. You know what I mean? All right, let me read these comments. One thing to look at in regards to the 13th degree and prior to about people with weak ass critiques and sit back, listen, and yeah, indeed, right. So we agreed the only God is Son of Man. Yeah, okay. Peace. My uncle used to be a substitute teacher. He hated how they instructed him to teach. He called the 3 R's: reading, writing, and regurgitation. Yeah, you know, again, I don't want you to get rid of some of the techniques that are in the Western world. They work. When you want to learn something, like when you're learning 120, though, you're gonna have to do that regurgitation. Like you need to quote this stuff. So you're gonna have to do straight old school, you know, just quoting and repeating it until you get it. So a lot of stuff is, you know, not fun. You know, critical thinking, yet terms such as supreme intelligence, all I see are thrown around but rarely used when they're supposed to. Absolutely. All right, just for clarity, how Allah changed the degree to but. Okay, just for clarity, how Allah changed that degree to but that shows critical thinking every time based on its. Right. Pablo, I don't know if you collected all this because I was getting getting into tangents while I was building on it, right? That's right, Saladin, right? C. Johnson, right? Saladin. That's right. You know, that's the decree. Yeah. I mean, if you read that, you know what I'm saying? If you read that, if you're on the degree, quote it, you know, whatever. If you're on it, there is no mystery God. The Son of Man has searched for that mystery God for trillions of years, okay? And was unable to find that so-called mystery God. So they agreed that the only God is the Son of Man and lost no time searching for that which does not exist, okay? And we, right? My degree says, and we lost no time searching. You know, these are also things, since we're talking about that, these are also things the Father changed. The pronouns, okay? The pronouns, very important, okay? And we lost. It's a collective body making a decision, okay? Now, you know what's a good assignment, though? How does a collective body say that they're not going to research something? Just think about that. I'm just saying that in the general sense. That sounds like the most unscientific shit ever, right? Think about it. We decided not to search for that which does not exist. But isn't all science based on searching through the unknown? Isn't all creation that we create coming from the unknown? I know that when I wrote this book, since we're on the shameless plug level, then have to show people that I don't need to, you know, that was coming from someone's own mind. You know what I'm saying? Just like, right? Since I got to God Starmel's books, of which I'm editing the new one now, the third in the trilogy, right? These came from his own mind, right? That was unknown before it was done. So it comes from the unknown, okay? Right? It's coming from the unknown. So how do you decide to not search for that which does not exist? How do you definitively say something does not exist? See? It's because they were trying to prove a negative, which is the unscientific part. They were trying to prove that something mysterious is out there. You cannot prove mystery. You see? But you can continuously prove the original, right? Yeah, it's a monster. Yeah, indeed. It's a monster, you know? Definitely. All right, let's go into another question, okay? Real quick, this is for my brother. Haven't built with him a long time. Got an email from him, right? The God is still working on his name, so he doesn't have a name. I don't, you know, when I see him, I call him his honorables. No thing. I am not one of those people that have you rush to make a name when I teach you, you know? And it's not because people make a name, though, and it's horrible, which happens a lot. I've heard some horrible names, like, really going to be called that shit outside? You know what I mean? Like, those kind of names. Like, it's crazy. Like, might as well call yourself Master of the Elements, man. You know, like, some people be having superhero names or shit. You know what I mean? Like, some shit like that. But the thing about the name, though, is that to me it should go along with knowledge of self. So what is impairing you with knowledge of self? As I said, it's you have to answer the questions. Let me get these questions I said before. Okay? It's 2 questions. It's real simple. And I've always said it's simple, and I want you guys to keep it simple. So even though I said it, I would say I said I would answer it again. What am I? And say, don't answer that in 1 word. Answer that in 1,000 words, 2,000 words. Answer it in a year of writing in a journal, right? So right, my current journal is real nice. You know what I mean? My sister went and got it for me, so it's real nice. You know, I mess with the me, but she got me this nice journal, right? Some basic stuff, but open your journal. You know what I mean? What are you? You know, what are you? What am I? You know what I'm saying? How do I describe myself? How would I detail myself? You know, am I only about things I've done? Am I missing something to say about myself because I haven't done enough things? Right? How do you describe yourself? right? So, you know, like, you know, cue the old gangster, the meaning of the name, you know what I mean? Like, right? What is it? You know, what are you? Before you make a name, you've got to say, you know, what are you? What am I? You know, what am I about? You know, right? What have I been about? And take it, you know, from the the as a man thinketh concept, right? Man is the sum of his thoughts. So if man is the sum of his thoughts, then think about your life. You know, think about your life. What has been the sum of all these thoughts? You ever think like that? You know, reverse engineer it, right? Reverse engineer it. What has been the sum of your thoughts? You know, like look at major moments in your life and where you're at. You know what I'm saying? And what are the thoughts that have summed to this? You know, then you start to see that there's really not much mystery. You know, right? And when you start to sum up your thoughts, like this is my way of thinking. I thought this in this major situation. So that has been my nature. Has it been correct? It's like, hell no. Oh, hell yeah. You know? Because we decide what we're going to be. See? And as you go through along, you decide how you will be. And then you can answer that second question, what will I be? Because I always feel like the name should also include that. You know, what will you be? You know? I made my name. I said I was savior of the universe now, shows and proves the equality of zigzag zig. Right? That's what I intend to be. Right? But what I am, though, is simply sun is. You know? I wanted to keep it as simple as possible. You know? Sun is. That's who I am. Sun is. I'm being. And when that comes about, I can describe all these things and I can talk about it forever. You know? Right? One of the early assignments my enlightener gave me, knowledge me, since we're going through this, we're going through these things. I have it right here. This I won't digitize because it has wrong shit in it and things I don't, you know, but he made me do it. I made 2 copies. You know, how much did I write? I wrote 3 1/4 page. First assignment he asked me to do was show and prove that I am the original man. I wrote 3 1/2 pages about it. You know what I mean? These are the kind of things you got to do to figure out. You know, how do you prove that you're the original man? You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are going here for a reasoning. Like they're going here for the answer. Like you tell me why I'm the original man, Sunez. You tell me, Darkim, why I'm the original man. The truth is that we can we break down the degree, we break down the analysis, and we give you a lot of those answers. And we also direct you to the sciences, the biochemistry, the quantum mechanics, the, you know, all the set sciences. But in the end, though, you have to relate to the history of you. You have to put yourself into the history that goes all the way back to the father of civilization. You have to put yourself into the history of why, what's your understanding of why the original man, even if he created all this, why is he the owner? You know what I'm saying? Right. That's right, God. It was, you know, just answering, proving the first degree in the 110. You know, with respect to like, why am I the original man? So knowledge me didn't want me to just say prove the first degree. Like that would be an insufficient completion of the assignment because I could go generic things. You know, like no. By the end of that has the arguments of why I'm in the degree, why the degree is about me. So it's really the assignment is why am I the original man? Why am I the true and living God? Why am I the Asiatic black man? All of that. So all of that had to be answered. You know what I mean? Yeah, you know, there's a video on it. You know, Infomega took it for the YouTube, but simply put, the God that I met that had knowledge is the one that named this course the Peace Course, Day Sun. And Day Sun, we were in college together, and I was writing columns for the school newspaper, as we both were. But I was writing really like, my column was incendiary, as all my writings are. And I was writing that I was God, it was this, and he was like, "Yo, you the God?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm the God," And it's like I heard it in the music. I'm like, I could be that. I'm that too. And then he told me that there was a school that taught this, and I'm like, "Whoa!" But Day-Sun, if you know Day-Sun, you know that this makes sense. He told me I wasn't going to be able to go if I wasn't sharp because they'll bomb me. Mind you, he said that, man. You know what I'm saying? Right? And while he's saying all that, all I could think was, I better be sharp. And one of the things he was talking about was his name. So I'm from Sunset Park, Brooklyn, right? And when I was growing up in Puerto Rican neighborhood until the 90s. So Sunset Park, I'm from. The God that I first meet, that I acknowledge, there's people that was God that I knew of before, like for example, see raised walls and stuff. But I didn't acknowledge that they was God because I didn't know what that meant. I didn't understand it. So I was around gods I didn't know. But he's the first one that I knew, and his name is Day-Sun. You know what I mean? Peace, God. Right? Somebody messaging me goodies and stuff. You know what I mean? Taking me off course here. You know what I mean? But so those three things, and Day-Sun was always talking about the sun in the name and everything like that. So what happened was, and Power Born, right? It's a simple, basic assignment, but it's really hard, But I saw the sun in all these things, and I'm from Sunset Park, and I wanted all the Puerto Ricans, all the Boricuas, the Dominicans, everybody that was around it to know that, like, yo, I'm the God, and, we're God. We're the true and living God. We don't have knowledge of self, but we're all the true and living God. And be a mouthpiece for that. And at the same time, though, I wanted all the brothers if I go to Flatbush, when I go to Beach Street to get records, wherever, they know that, yo, when you hear my name and stuff, and it reminds your ass that, yo, the original man is not your limited scope of who you define as so-called African American, right? And that misnomer is already wrong by you, whoever said individual was on. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. I grew up on 48th Street. I grew up on 48th Street, so you already know. I know, But the thing is that was my intention. So I made it sound. I gave it the Latin Enya in the name. That's why I say, for me, it means not now, but shows. Sunya, savior of the universe, now shows and proves. So the Enya to me means now shows and proves. For me, Enya means now shows and proves. The equality of zigzag. So that's how I made it. You know what I'm saying? But I spent a long time thinking about what am I, and what will I be? A lot of it helped because. Let me tell you something. Before I got knowledge of self, I already knew I could teach people because I was already instructing people. I was already teaching people things I knew, and Day-Sun knew this, And when I heard, like, let's say, skits like Brand Nubian, what was it? It was Brand Nubian's second album. No, third album. Let me look it up. Because one thing you guys should know, whenever I'm on my laptop, my Google Play with my near 90,000 songs are always open. Right? So, yeah, everything is everything. I don't know how to forget that. I haven't heard this album in a long time. Maybe I'll listen to it because I forgive Lord Jamal for the flat earth misnomers and stuff, He's still one of the illest. You know what I mean? One of my favorite songs of all time is "Claiming I'm a Criminal." His verse on that is one of my favorite all time. It's top 5 for me. Personal favorite of what it meant and stuff. But that skit when it says looking at God, or it was in the previous album In God We Trust, where he had the meaning of the 5% and about teaching. I always found that concept of being one of the 5%, one of the teachers. I didn't even know what they were teaching. Like what he's talking about is being taught. But that the honor of being a teacher has always been something that has been something with me, you know, as the greatest honor, you know, because growing up, one of the things I always realized that even though I grew up in poverty, I grew up in a very rich household. I grew up in a house where we were as poor as anyone else, but there was always a richness of education, a richness for learning, and a demand for learning and reading and writing from my mother to my sister, all of that, and definitely from my father, right? So I ended up knowing things that other people didn't know, and instead of looking down on them, I felt that all they needed to do was have it shared to them. And so when I heard about what the 5% does and stuff, I thought, wow, this is an honorable thing. That desire is something that could be done. You know, the thing is, I didn't know enough. You know, I didn't know enough to share. So, you know, that's what led me to that. You know what I'm saying? When I got knowledge of self, there really weren't any 5%ers in Sunset. You know? I can't even say that I'm the one that brought it there. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if Lord Jamal's still with the flat earth stuff. You know? I hope that he's not. You know? I don't know if he still is. You know? I hope that he's not. You know? If he is, though, you know, hopefully he's still learning and comes out of that, you know, with some good information of why he was wrong with that. Okay, Pablo, because your peace course to stop doing it, so I'm creating something rigid for me. That's all includes face to. That's really peace, Pablo. You know what I'm saying? Let me tell you something. That's a very honorable step, you know. I will tell you this though. When I knew I was really onto something was like I was teaching for a long time, and it was first born Al Jamel. When I really started to build with Al Jamel, it was really on the basis because I was teaching, and he wanted to come back and teach at the school. And he came to my class to learn, not really learn about the lessons, but learn the mechanics, the pedagogy, the techniques I was using as a teacher, you know? And I'll never forget that because it's like a firstborn was coming to my class to find out something. I'll never forget that level of humility and that we don't know shit, you know? You know? Yeah, you know, Dark Kim boy, you know, Dark Kim, I was about to go enjoy Brand Nubian, and you always got to put a hole in what I'm trying. I wanted to enjoy it frivolously. Now, it's going to bother me now because I forgot that he said that. No. Man, Dark Kim be fucking up the playlist. Damn. No. So now I have to listen to Dark Kim records, right? Because, you know, Dark Kim doesn't get any lessons wrong. You know, Dark Kim doesn't get any lessons. He doesn't get any lessons wrong in his records because he just shoots people and cops. That's all he shoots is cops on records, you know? Dark Kim only shoots police on records, you know? I'm just messing with you, Dark Kim. Just like doing that. But really, no one's going to catch an L but police on a Dark Kim record. You know what I'm saying? You don't kill innocent black people. You don't kill niggas. You don't, you know. But police, man, they get it on the records. You know? You definitely get it. You know? But I got you in Infinite Mind though, and Louis, the godlike Kim, Louis Lou. So I got enough gods to listen to right now. You know. But yo, you know, the thing is though is that like we were talking about the knowledge cipher degree. That knowledge cipher degree relates to Lord Jamal. Like, what's the level by which you will take your science into? And you have to have a method by which you don't veer away in your scientific studies because it's very easy to delve into stuff that is unscientific. And you could be thinking that you're scientific. You know what I'm saying? I don't take that shit lightly, man. Like, when it goes to searching for that which does not exist, understand this though. Don't read that degree and go, yeah, the understanding is that we don't do that, and I'm the true living, and I don't mess around, and I don't understand this. All of the research we will ever do is based on things that we don't know, which means that you could make a pitfall and be studying things based on belief. Just if one aspect of what you think you know is not actually true, and that incorrect thought could lead you to wrong questions and wrong assumptions into the wrong questions that lead you into studying for a mystery. You know what I'm saying? Right? So, don't think that we're above, like, just because you say you're the true and living God, that you're not above searching for a mystery and things like that. It can happen daily, though. You know what I'm saying? Right? How many of us got this knowledge, though, and we're still, like, expecting them to get rid of the virus all of a sudden on their own? You know what I'm saying? Instead of getting stronger ourselves and really becoming stronger. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's right. That's right. Mm-hmm. Right. I see that info. Yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm. But yeah, let me get into some stuff here. I want to get. We're about halfway through, so we're gonna run out of time and stuff. But let me see what questions we're on before I continue. If anybody has any new questions, please add them on in there. That way I can get to them. I don't know if Allah Preem is doing it now, but I'm gonna get to your question. I wrote it in here, so. All right, so I'm gonna skip. I have little rants and builds that I'm saving, and we could go into those things. Supplementing the justice curriculum. I'm going to continue that in another class session. Hopefully, I should have that done by next time. So in all the subjects, I'm going to go into like actual materials to go into immediately that you could use. Let's see. Also, the main reminder that I keep reminding everybody is, and it's really a question: how are you all doing? As most of us are in the quarantine, unless we're, unless we're essential workers, right? Most of us are in quarantine, so the main thing that we have to do. Yes, Pablo, and I got it. Okay, I definitely got it. Mm-hmm. The main thing that we have to do is see how are we instituting, and this is just a random question. If you want to answer it and stuff and offer some insights, is how are we instituting if we have extra time, how are we implementing and focusing our triangle of power, right? And our triangle of power is how we, right? That triangle of power. I always write it down in here. What I like to call the triangle of power. Is the simple reading, writing, training, right? Obviously, and I say this writing triangle of power because it's that focus, that triangle that hits when you're hitting, right? That Wing Chun punch, right? So it's a triangle of power, and that's important to know in all sciences. When the focus is inward, that's where the arms get the most power, right? Indeed, yeah. I think that one thing that I can't tell people not to, it sounds funny, but I can't tell people not to think I'm the shit, But one thing that I do whenever I teach, right? And take this note, Powerborn. What you want to do is that you want to put a lot of onus on the student. You want to give them assignments, though. You want to give them stuff where they have to show and prove certain things immediately and make the products of their work very visible, You know, that's why you get assignments. That's why you get homework, because you need real things to show and prove. When I was with Knowledge Me, he literally said, Sunez, you're a writer. You've written newspapers. And he said, go make a newspaper. And this is 1999. I was like, what? Because it's not like simple now. Like, if we go make a newspaper, shit, I could, you know, just make a website or something and do that easy. A blog, a quick blog. Or I could just like print up some thing really quickly. Nah, I had to do a real newspaper. You know what I'm saying? I had to go get funds, and I made it. I made Our Swords, you know, Our Sacred Words, and I put that out in the nation. You know what I mean? It was like an entertainment magazine focused for the gods and arts. You know, so it was about all things, but you know, it was what I knew, and injecting the knowledge itself and more serious topics into the music and the arts that I studied and stuff, you know. But what you want to do is you want to put it on the student and say that, like, you can get them out of the worship, though, if they're so busy that it becomes their prime goal. You know what I'm saying? That when they ask you advice about certain things, you also put it on them to find the solution. This is what I was saying about the father. If the father goes, oh, did you do such and such? And they go, well, but, and you go, and then he answers, well, but brings rain, hail, snow, earthquakes. He might have left it just to that question. And now that person doesn't have an answer. They have another question. So they have to go figure out what they're going to do. You know, they have to go figure out how they're going to answer this, right? That's putting the onus and the responsibility on the student. And that keeps them away from the idol worship and stuff. You know? I try to keep idol worship away by showing, like, simplifying whatever people think are deeds and achievements that I have, by simplifying them. That these things are being done not because of just raw talent. They're done because I spent years, months, and days writing, you know? If people see one piece, they're seeing maybe 100 words out of every 10,000 words that I write. You see? So the student needs to be taken out of mystery. They need to know the journey of the teacher as well. That's why for us, though, the teaching is very personal. They need to know the journey of the teacher. All the great elders, they always told you where they were coming from. Not so you just keep the history, but also so that you don't realize that, man, this is not no mysterious thing. You spend years, months, and days studying this stuff, you know? Years, months, and days, you know? And so whatever field that we got into that was great, we went into. There's a thing in sports, right? Where they tell you that somebody could have a great season. Like, they can have a great season like anybody else. But what makes a great player is not one great season. It's if they could come back and do it again and again. You see? And that's what becomes something that is deified. That's what becomes something that other people look at when they learn from someone, how it's so deified. That's why I kind of love, like, when people learn more about people, like, and people, they're not doing the knowledge right. Like, what's these Michael Jordan documentaries? People really doing the knowledge and being like, oh, he wasn't really nice and things like that. You think that that's how you win like that? You think that's how you achieve the level of greatness that he achieved by being nice to everybody? That's how you win championships? That's how you achieve great things and make great things? Not that you have to be an asshole, but I'm saying you have to push people. And you have to expect it out of yourself, you know? Right? And I'm putting the glasses on because I'm sick of, you know, veering into the, you know, I'm nearsighted, but the chat, they make the chat so little, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm tired of edging my neck like that, you know what I'm saying? I'm looking in there, so I just want to chill back, watch everything, you know what I mean? But, yeah, that's what I would say, powerful. You know what I mean? Everyone's gonna be at a level where they should be amazed by what you do, but they also should be directed to find what is amazing and great in them. You know? So right now, you could say it to me what you're doing or whatever, like later in the email, whatever like that, if you want some help with it. But how are you focusing on getting your writing, and training up? because all of these things are needed. You know what I'm saying? All of these things. You know, um, you know, like I said, I always have writing goals that are weekly and yearly. You know, so I have reading goals of 52 books a year, which I always achieve. I have reading goals of at least 50 pages a day read, which I almost always fail. But if you just hit that mark a couple of times, you could easily, reach. Like this week, I've reached it. So this week, well, not yet, but like this week, I've reached it every day. So, by the end of the week, like that, you read 300 pages. You know what I'm saying? So you read clips like this. One of these juggernaut books are done quickly. You know what I'm saying? So it allows me to shift from book to book. It allows me the wherewithal to be diverse in what I'm learning because I'm reading at a greater clip. It also lets me become a better writer because I'm seeing more and more words. I'm seeing how people do it. I'm seeing different, like anything, I'm seeing different combinations. You know what I mean? Right? And all the while, though, I'm listening to more music and collecting more music than I can ever listen to. And yet, I intend to listen to it all. Right? And you're very welcome, Powerbomb. These are really great questions. Really great questions. Yeah, so, again, there's no mystery, man. You want to get sharper stuff, you better figure out what you're going to read or what you're going to research, right? You want to be a good musician, you want to be an MC, trust me, I'm telling you, I know about it. You got to study music. You got to listen to a lot of music, right? You want to be good at something, you got to study a lot. Know how are you going to research? You want to study what you're writing. How are you communicating? Develop your communication. You know what I mean? Oh wait, you said watch soon you get amped? Yeah, we're trying to learn actual facts here, and you're given something that is completely not the truth. Let me say this about greatness, though. We when we talk about greatness, though, right? When we look at the Father, right, we look at greatness, though, right? Like this is a man that he taught all these people, though, and he was untouched. He never failed. Every moment that people saw him, though, he was on point. He was on point. They try to throw a dart at him. He was on point. They sent him to Madawan, though. He comes out as Allah. They write Allah on the thing. He acknowledges Allah, right? When it comes to the toughest life moments, though, right? 0 losses. Only great achievements, though. He does a parliament, though. Hundreds of people, though. Does a bus ride, hundreds of people. All these power groups, they're doing their thing. The Father gets a building. He gets a program where you can take kids through finish high school into college. You know what I mean? Wins. The W. I'm doing my West Coast W. You know what I mean? Wins. Everything that he was doing was a win. You know what I'm saying? A law school in Mecca got a whole building for us. Win. You know what I mean? When we look at greatness, though, that's greatness right there. You know what I mean? Taught it definitively, but when you go 50 years later, none of these groups exist. You know what I'm saying? None of these groups exist. What still exists, though? Wins, excellence, highest level. And, as I checked, though, the goal was to win games, which ultimately means win the chip and score the most points. That's how you win the game, score the most points. The guy that scored the most points, all-time average, most scoring titles, and got the most chips. Real simple. Real simple. You know what I mean? Right? And Powerborn, you did it, though. But I tried to relate it, make it class-bound, though. We know one thing that I get like this amped, right, is because when you get that knowledge, right, you got to be strong and you got to be sharp. Somebody asks you understanding how you see today's mathematics, you can't be fumbling like, what day is it? Is it today's the 29th, I think. You know what I'm saying? not sharp. You know what I'm saying? Or you say, no, I gotta defer to him. I'm really, you're not a new. You're like, I'm still on my, you know, and you be lying. You delete all the shit that you're on. Now you gotta be on what you're on. You gotta be on point. You know what I mean? And the thing about it though is that when we look at the career of LeBron James, though, the thing that bothers me most, though, is how he cowers from it. Okay, yeah, he doesn't take the last shot. He gives away the ball for so many games I've seen where he doesn't take the last shot. That doesn't show up in the box score. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't show up in the box score. You know? And it doesn't, you know what doesn't show up in the box score? After he loses and he goes into the media room, and he's got a soft cast on. You know what I'm saying? That's like me, right? I said, listen, I didn't know about the degree because, you know, I didn't have my glasses on. I couldn't tell what. You know what I mean? That's the whole thing about it. Greatness is excellence on a higher level. And you very rarely see it. Like in music, you very rarely see it. Nearly every legendary musician has bad works. Nearly every writer writes something that is, not so, you know, not the greatest clip. You know what I'm saying? So when you see greatness, they get to have that GOAT label. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's longevity, but a lot of times it's greatness. Like, you ever wonder why people, and it gets no argument from me, where she doesn't have the skills, the vocal range of her vocal range is so limited, technically, right? Now, I don't go by era, Dark Kim. Jordan's the best, though, every era, though. The hell with all that stuff. And to do all that stuff. They don't even foul you in today's game now. You don't think Jordan would dominate? You know what I'm saying? He would dominate in that. You know what I mean? It's the same as saying, like, you know, an MC then, though. You know, we got to judge MCs. The Dark Kim, if you suck now, you wouldn't be able to gauge yourself back in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? You're too old, Doc. There's no way that Dr. J had the jump shot game of Jordan and the post game of Jordan. So it's not even close. You know? Scottie Pippen's chips. Well, that means that Dr. J's chip is really Moses Malone, right? And that means that Larry Bird's chips are really Robert Parrish and Kevin McHale and Dennis Johnson. That means Magic Johnson's chips are really Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, James Worthy, and all the other great guys in the Lakers. You know what I'm saying? There's no way. You know what I'm saying? And if you really study, I mean, people didn't really study all of the stuff in the documentary. If you're sports fans, regardless, you know, all of the stuff in the documentary, though, is common knowledge if you're really a student of it, right? Hey, here's one chip. He doesn't have a chip in the NBA, though. We ain't talking about NBA. We ain't talking about no the ABA shit. Guaranteed. You're right about that. You know, you're right about that. But he didn't have the game that Jordan had. It's not even close. It's not even close. He didn't have the post game. He didn't have the moves. Not even close. Yeah. Yeah, Dark Kim, sound like an old man. Next thing you tell me that Bill Russell's the goat. No, stop it. I'm just messing with you. It's just I pull the old man on you, and I'm picking somebody that's older. You know what I mean? But yo, check this though, right? If you really watch the documentary, all of that is pretty much common knowledge. If you read like certain books, like Roland Lazenby's biography of Jordan. If you're a Jordan fan, seriously, I have those books too. So if you want those books, I'll give it to you. You know, right? LeBron has more game winners because he loses more games. He's played more games. I'll give you an example of the bad comparison, right? If you really know your baseball, you know that Willie Mays is the GOAT. Don't give me that Babe Ruth shit. Because Babe Ruth has no fielding skills and all. And he wasn't even playing against black folk, so that doesn't count. You know what I mean? Yeah, wait. I gotta wait. I'm waiting for Dark Kim's whole Dr. J argument to surface, though, you know? But Dr. J has no jumper. It's not even close. He has no shot. He doesn't even have the moves that Jordan had. Like, but anyway, all right. So, if I lost my train of thought, I know it was Okay, so with the Jordan thing, right, and the LeBron thing, right, in baseball, right. Well, I'm going to use baseball now, Supreme Scientist, so maybe it works. When people say GOAT, Hank Aaron has more home runs than Willie Mays by a large chunk. And he has more big homer seasons, like 40. And yet, Willie Mays is still the GOAT, right? The GOAT is on the quality of the player, the crunch time essence of the player. All of it has to be combined. You know what I mean? People are giving LeBron the GOAT because he gets about one rebound and one assist more in his career. You know? He has chokes. And I'm sorry, like, it's not even a question because about whether the quality of a player, because he doesn't surpass Magic to me, let alone, you know, or Kobe. LeBron has major chokes. That game 1 finals where he scored 50 points and he choked and he was sunned because his teammate messed up and he was just choking. That's choking. You know what I'm saying? That's choking. He's not even in a discussion, you know? The late game shots that he has is because he has to take more of them, though. He's played way more games, way more minutes, you know? Right? Let me see the what I'm hearing. Yeah, 7. That's what it is. I haven't seen Dark Kim. I haven't seen a clip though. You know what? I could see that Dark Kim, right? The moves that Dr. J had, I could see the moves inside the lane, driving as a driver and all that. But those post moves, Jordan's post game from 90, from the 3-peat, like the second 3-peat, right? They're on the level of Akeem Olajuwon post moves, you know? And since I'm a Jordan fan, I'll argue he had better post moves than Olajuwon. You know what I'm saying? The Powerball is so funny though. Yeah. Yo. Let's see. He invented the moves, Jordan. Yeah. You know. Okay, Ja. In that 50-point game in the finals where J.R. Ryder choked. Remember J.R. Ryder made the mistake? That's what I'm talking about. What happened in the overtime? He sulked. The game is not done. When it counts, though, he sulks. He said, I did enough. I'm going to sulk in the corner. He was supposed to hit J.R. Smith in the back of the head and say, we're in overtime. We could win this. And look, you do the research, though. All right? Sports Illustrated even had columns, though, long feature articles back in the 2000s, okay, about why LeBron is choking. Go look it up. Go back into your Sports Illustrated columns in the print magazines. You know, it's not even close. Now you go and watch the 1997-98 season and see that Jordan is missing game winners, making game winners, leading the team on his back, and accepting nothing less from the teammates. He's riling them up. He's getting them in tune. LeBron's not on that level, though. He has major chokes, man. Major chokes. Okay? The whole Maverick series knocks you out from being a legend. From on that level, you're not going to be GOAT when you have that, you know? Wait, that was a weird comment about Babe Ruth, you know? But, yeah, no, Babe Ruth had great statistics, incredible, but he didn't play against black folks, so that shit don't count. It really, literally does not count, you know? Nah, come on, man. I could show you so many clips, God. Like, Jordan was posting up against every guard that was out there and he was making, go watch the finals against the Sonics, though. He was doing these moves on Gary Payton. Come on. And that's one of the greatest, you know, defenders ever. Grant Hill, he was rocking. Whether they were the forwards or the guards, you know? Come on, his rookie season, he was destroying Sidney Moncrief, you know? Like, come on. His post moves always there. I'm saying Dr. J was like the precursor. He's not. That's like saying to me on the same level. That's like saying to me, uh, you know, that Bill Russell is better than Elijah. I just can't see it. No. And Powerborn, you're in Chicago. Rep that. You get to be right because you're in Chicago. I am crazy for that comment. You know what I'm saying? But on the guards level, if you equated post moves, we only say Elijah because he needed those post moves. Jordan had more moves than just the post moves, but they are on that level. So forgive me for the hot take, but Jordan's post moves are on a level of Akeem Olajuwon level. Like they could be in the same classroom. Like they could sit in the same hall. You know what I mean? Yeah, he was. He was doing this stuff when Rodman wasn't his teammate. You know what I'm saying? So, like I'm saying, his post moves are artwork. That's just a fact. Come on. You guys. The 90s was a great era. It was a great era. You had incredible athletes. You had amazing athletes. I would say this, though. Jordan would have won if he had a quality team in the late 80s. And only didn't win in the late 80s because the Pistons were using abnormal techniques on him. I saw all those games, though. Isaiah was my childhood hero. And the way they played him, though, that shouldn't have been allowed, but it was. They was doing football, and they did stuff that they pushed it to another level. It's just crazy. Second option as good as Pippen? All right. That's not too hard. All right, first of all, you got to say the Celtics. Celtics, 86. Kevin McHale is as good as anybody in the post. So he was as good as second option as any player. Definitely a better option than Pippen to score. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying, though, Kim. None of the teams in the 90s are going to be seen as great because Jordan was the only one that dominated alone. It's the only one. No one, think about it though, no one dominated their era alone where they destroyed and demolished the competition. So you can't, LeBron, you could say, for example, LeBron has all these great players because they're all around him, right? They're all around eating. Everybody was eating during the LeBron phase, so everybody could say, oh, I have chips, I have MVPs, I have legendary statistics, because LeBron let everybody eat. Jordan let nobody eat. So players that to me are on a supreme level, Karl Malone, John Stockton, Barkley, you know what I'm saying? Kevin Johnson. I'm sorry, I love Kevin Johnson. He was my second favorite as a kid, right? All these players on a high level. Even the players like on the Knicks, though, they was a high level. You know what I mean? Yeah, what did happen is that Jordan demolished teams. You said second option. When you said second option, God, you're talking about scoring, though. That's the main thing. There's no way that Pippen is a better scorer than Kevin McHale. There's no way. That's a pretty side. Yeah, you're right, though. Yeah. No way, man. No way. No, Hakim was the only one that was dominant. That's crazy, man. Like I said, to me, you had great players that never fulfilled themselves because Jordan took their heart out. Best example, Shawn Kemp. You know what I'm saying? After Jordan demolished them, they weren't the same. Clyde Drexler never reached the full potential because Jordan demolished them. He was demolishing players, you know what I mean? Taking their heart out. Like, it's nothing else. He almost took the Celtics' heart out, though, if he had a good team. Go in Basketball Reference and read the players that were on Jordan's team in 87, 88, 89. It's trash. You know what I mean? I'm not hating on Pippen, though, but Pippen didn't have a jumper. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have go-to moves like the other players we're talking about. There's no way that he was scoring like McHale. No way. No way. I don't think you're right about that, actually. I'm gonna look this up and then we'll continue on other things. But now you got me curious, though. You know, Mikhail's best years, he was scoring more than Pippen. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, come on. Kevin McHale does have a higher career average. And if we talk about that prime of Celtic seasons, you know, 85 through, let's say, I could go all the way to 90 because he was still top notch. Kevin McHale's scoring average is 21. And that's with lots of other scoring options, right? Pippen's dominance, let's say, I'll give you the championship years, 91 up to 98, right? His average is 20, right? So he's just as good a scorer, you know what I mean? And maybe Kevin McHale's the better scorer because he's got a 570 field goal percentage. So he's clearly the better scorer, right? There you go. Yeah. I think so, Popborn. Yeah, I think so. They would have had a different discussion. But right now, though, Darkim is wrong. Jordan's the GOAT. We can continue on. You know? But, yeah, Jordan could do no wrong, though. I don't, you know. Yeah, you know, Kevin McHale with those weird-looking shoulders, though, was getting that moves. It was really annoying to watch, though. You know? He had the backboard shot before Duncan. Yeah, Duncan. You know? Yeah, Duncan, another guy that got to eat a lot of food during LeBron's reign. You know? These guys ate a lot of food. They got chips, finals MVPs. They ate big time during LeBron's reign. Whereas Jordan, though, nobody ate, though. Right? They left demoralized. You know what I mean? Nobody ate. It's gonna be a different decade. You know? No matter what, in the 80s, though, Magic ate, Bird ate, right? It's the only era is Jordan's era where nobody ate, you know? And if you look at those teams, though, you have Jordan and Pippen, but after Jordan and Pippen, you get a real downslide. So, you know. But yeah, we'll leave it there. You know, hopefully, Darkim, you'll watch the rest of the documentary. You know what I mean? Prove you naysayers, you know. All right. So I could go into two things right now. Let's see. Oh, I didn't. Let's go into the last question that I definitely got was about the Jews and stuff. I do have it on PDF. So if you ask me, I do have We the Black Jews by Dr. Yosef Ben Yakinen as a PDF. Okay, that's an immediate quest. A book I can give you. It's a lousy PDF. You know, like it's not really good looking. It's just a scanned PDF. So the file is very big. But it has the book. You know, and this is an old school book. If you know publishing, though, this is a book that they were typesetting. So it even would be a hard book for them to make an ebook out of. You would have to print up the whole thing all over again. You know? So it would take a long time to do it. These old school typeset books. But that's why the print is like really small on this book. But one of the important things, I guess, we're thinking about like the Eddie Munster. Right, Herman Munster. Yeah, Herman Munster. Yeah, I'll find it. But one of the things about the Jews, right? We saw the Jews in New York is that they have their own gated communities, right? And when you learn from the Jews, you learn that all of them are taught to be rabbis. So if there was a rabbi funeral, understand that is the level of rabbiship, not necessarily that that's a particular rabbi. They do things a little bit differently, right? When we talk about the Jews and stuff like that, we're really talking about those. What do you mean by that? So there's no finals between 84 and 90. Was Celtics, Lakers, and Pistons fasted? No, they was getting chips. You know what I mean? But between 84 and 90, right? Jordan didn't have a team. Like, that team was trash. You know, and like all the stuff about the coke that they were using and all that, like that was common knowledge. Those are documented in books. Like, they're not even worthy teams to go into the playoffs in the first round, let alone even get out of the basement. You know what I mean? There's two good books, though. I don't want to get into the whole Jew thing, but reference books that I do have that I could give you. Let me see if I have the other one digitally. Okay. Arthur Kessler's book about the 13 tribe is useful. The most useful book is The Black Jews. Yes, Darkin. Just like Magic always had Kareem with him. Okay? Always had Kareem with him with all of his chips. You know? You need one other player, though. That doesn't... Again, you're making... Dr. J won in the ABA by himself, but you know that was a weak-ass league. That's not the level of play. Like, it's team play. You know, they didn't do team play and shit like that. So, that's just one-on-one sports. You know, that was like winning the N1 tournament. You know, like, it's really irrelevant. Right? When it came to team play in the NBA, Dr. J won one chip, and it was with Moses Malone as the leader, or as the best player. That's right. That's a fact. I mean, Dr. J is the father, and the son was greater. It's just simple facts. You know? Even in the ABA, he didn't average more points than Jordan did in the NBA. There's no way that the strength of competition, though, that... You know what? I'm not talking about strength of competition with Dr. J. I'm talking about the quality of the team play. You know what I mean? Because you can have great talent, but if they're not playing team ball to win chips, though, then it's a different story, though. You know what I mean? And when you research those ABA teams, they were not playing like that. They were playing solo ball. They were playing pickup ball to shine on their own. You know, that was generally the way of the league. You know, if you do research on the research, that's how it's documented. So, right? Nah, because you can have great players, but they're not playing team ball, so it's not really going to be a signal of how well they play, like how well the competition is, because the players themselves are diluting their own quality. You know, so you can have better teams that are, let's say, teams that are better than Dr. J's, but aren't really playing together as a team. You know what I mean? It's really irrelevant. You know? I don't want to put it to boxing. You know? Yeah, Power Born, that's a good question. So you think that people take Allah's accomplishments as a reason to worship him versus seeing what they could accomplish in their own community? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You know what I mean? It's so much easier to worship because you think that you don't really have the facets to get there, and you don't really know to take the time to get there. You know what I'm saying? Right? And yeah, Doc Kim, by the way, Dr. J dominated. We're talking legend versus legend, so I'm giving you the small things that I think that take Jordan over the top. You know what I mean? I just think that Jordan was more all-around player, and he won more. This one's got to be he won more, you know? So, yeah. Doc Kim's like, no, I changed him to a sports talk show. You know what I mean? I don't mind talking about the arts. And to me personally, I see a lot of the sports as the arts, you know? In fact, when I was a kid, I never really would have followed the NBA, me personally, if I didn't see like the beauty of the game. You know what I'm saying? He said Steve Nash up there. Oh damn. Yeah, I like Steve Nash though. He was fun to watch. But, I know about MVP twice though. I don't know about that. But all right. So I said, if you have your triangle of power, you know, your development, how are you developing that? Questions for yourself. I'm going to make up a homework assignment. I haven't figured it out yet. Okay, but we'll get to it soon. Uh, the question about the Jews, I should have asked the God like what you meant by the the question for the Jews. If you're watching Allah Preem, I don't really know about their history though. But the way I was always taught in the beginning was that they're the ones that actually took the rules and regulations. So they're more strict with it. They kept to those rules and regulations that were given by Musa. So they followed them to the letter. And if you look, one of the last fail safes of like what a civilized European will be, a lot of times it ends up being what they're doing because they keep to a society framework, which a lot of European societies have trouble doing. And I think for that reason, though, that's why they try to exile, and sometimes successfully, i.e., Hitler, right, to exile the Jews because of those things. They have an ability to engage and blend in. And one of the great things about Musa was that he taught them how to re-engage themselves in society cleverly, and they have had that ability to do that, and that continues. I guess with the recent thing in New York that happened with the Jews and stuff. With the thing that happened with the Jews, I'm reading Supreme Scientist comment though, and his blasphemy probably is right. The thing about but the thing about the Jews is that they always have their own gated community. So one thing I want to leave you with the Jews, as far as the recent thing with the rabbi in New York, and they were actually congregating a large funeral, hundreds of people. What happens? And think about your born degree in the 1 to 14, and also think about how you engage a society. When you have a society, do you section off people? Do you allow people to section themselves off? If you were running your own society, how would you do that? You know what I mean? When you run a society, and then now you have something that has to be mandated to all of the society, what do you do with the parts of the society that have been sectioned off? And that's really the quandary that de Blasio had when he thought of that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it was a couple thousand, right? Yeah. I didn't really remember reading all the articles. I didn't know it was hundreds of thousands. I didn't want to assume, but it was a lot. But they're gonna say stuff because they're not used to people engaging them. They have to run carte blanche with everything. They have their own police. They have their own. If you ever go in there and you do work in there, you're never gonna get a yeah, I've never seen a Jewish parade, a Hasidic parade though. I really haven't seen it though, but I don't know if they have that. But the thing is though, is that they have their own community and they have their own. They don't really have any interaction as far as how they run it. You don't see police going in there and giving tickets for double parking, none of that. And like I said, I've worked in those communities. I'm from Sunset, so I lived right by Borough Park. Right up the avenue. I technically was born in a Borough Park hospital, so you know what I mean. So that makes me practically Jewish, right? I was born in a Hasidic neighborhood, so I'm Hasidic. You know what I mean? Watch some troll say that the God is really Hasidic, exactly. But yeah, Supreme Science is blasphemy, right? I'm gonna give it a subject because I feel like now you're gonna have a blasphemy note every class. Worshipping Allah is encouraged. The first thing people say is, if you disagree with anything Allah told them, start your own nation. That's true, though. There are a lot of elders that be saying that. I've had so many classes, right, where somebody, an elder, let me not say elder, because it's not always with respect that I respect these individuals that come in, but they'll be older, and they always walk in thinking that, like, oh, it's Sunez, he's young, you don't know. Let me tell everybody what it's about, so that way, just in case he didn't say it, though. And I'm not trying to interrupt the class, but I just want to say a couple of things, It always happens, though. You know what I mean? And they always have that that statement though, that, you know, this is not the place to disagree with Allah, you know. And it's like the classroom certainly is the place to disagree with Allah, you know, because then you wouldn't really find the thing. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that, you know, if you ever build with the firstborn and elders that were on the father, though, they if they had a confusion, we note them for having confusion, though. But when, you know, when they had disagreements, they also disagreed. Like, I don't know why you're doing this. Well, why are you saying that, and things like that. You know what I mean? But that anytime, I've always said this: anytime that you have a truth that is going to be, I'm not even using a lie, I'm saying truth, a vital truth that is a building block that ends up being used as a building block foundation for a group of men or a society of men, women, and children to congregate, then that means the way to uphold it is to make a tradition out of it. In other words, you continue that building block being shared, taught, engaged, used as part of the culture, right? So now this building block that we're saying is true, it is true, is now becoming a building block. It has to be upheld by its repetition of use. That becomes known as tradition. And now you build traditions, things that you do and repeat. Whenever you have the presence of tradition, right? When you have the presence of tradition, you always have the possibility of worship, because people are doing things because it's tradition and not because they're what the original, you know, intention of the tradition was, to re-implement and to reacquaint ourselves with the reasons why we are living out the said truth. So if you do the tradition correctly, you're reacquainting yourself with the truth, and you're finding new things about the truth, right? You're re-engaging and you're finding out new things about the truth, as opposed to saying, hey, that's our truth. Yeah, we believe it, and that's it. We're good. But that's not the way it's supposed to be. You're supposed to be challenging and seeing why it's wrong. That's why when I tell people, when I give people, definitely I always do this with this lesson. When I give people my plus lesson on the supreme mathematics, it is very different than what people get. So I always like to say that the way you learn this is you try to come up with your own reasons why it's wrong. Like, tell me why you think it's wrong. What are your disagreements? You know, what are the differences? You know, don't agree with knowledge, wisdom, understanding. If you don't know why culture is fourth, then ask me, why does culture have to be fourth? Why can't it be wisdom? I'm just saying, like, question. Like, if you're thinking somewhere, like, it doesn't make sense to you, say, why isn't equality at the end, or whatever it is? You know what I'm saying? Let me see, because I see funny jokes here. Right? I like that Asiatic. That's a bar, Dark Kim. You can, you know, see if Supreme lets you use that. It's a fucking bar. Asiatic. Bitch ass. Asiatic. Alright. But yeah, let me continue here. Y'all are funny though, taking, you know. Alright. Now, how much time? We do have some time. We have about a little over 45 minutes, right? So, yeah, actual fact. Yeah, actual fact. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, so if anybody has a question, please state it, though. I'm going to go through this lesson, and again, a lot of these teachings I think are useful, especially now that people are under quarantine. They're having them, you know, you want maximize your time, right? Right. But since we're in the quarantine and stuff, I want to go through a plus lesson I had written back in 2004. You'll see the similarities in other things I've written, though, but it has some things more put out there. So I want to read through it and just kind of read through it, get your thoughts on it. I don't have this digitally, so it takes me a long time. You know what I mean? Yeah, true, God. So, yeah, and that's why we're not learning very well, because we have to be asked questions, we have to be challenged. You know what I mean? And you know what? One thing I've always done is get challenged. I've always said my classroom has to be one of mathematical reasoning, science, you know, and bring these questions. People don't bring the questions; they just bring a lot of hate, so they're not in the classroom. But absolutely. So let me read this though. I will go into this. The 10, I wrote this, again, I was only teaching for a couple of years and I wrote this, the 10 Peace progress questions for the dedicated student. And peace as in P.E.A.C.E, the peace course, right? So these are 10 questions to try, like when you're looking at yourself, to try to gauge your progress. Because I've always been one to have a schedule, have things, a list of things you're going to do daily, and always be about judging your progress. Not, you know, beating yourself in the head for the lack of progress you're not making if you have a set guidelines and you don't always make them. You should always have it where you don't achieve your goals all the time, okay? Because you want to challenge yourself in your daily, you know, itinerary, okay? But I said this. I said constant elevation. This is the introduction to this lesson. Constant elevation at an ever-increasing rate is not a superficial ideal, a statement of theoretical uplift, nor an unattainable standard to strive for obsessively. And what I meant by constant elevation at an ever-increasing rate, I've always said that what I teach is perfection, a living perfection, not something perfect that's already done, but something that is ever growing. So I always said that perfection is constant elevation at an ever-increasing rate. And to picture it, not a rate that is linear, but a rate that is circular, a deeper cipher, okay? So, rather, perfection is to acknowledge that all thought is the birth of impossibility's possibility. This is also something I used to say, everyone has their own unique reality, so I used to always define it as the impossible possibility. You know, no one can do, only supreme scientist can do what he's done, so that's his impossible possibility that he has fulfilled, you know, and so on and so forth. All you students, Saladin, there's only one for you. Powerborn, there's only one for you, and so on and so forth, right? So with learning, sharing, and creativity, the essence of our descriptive reality, the ever-present mathematical reality of our perfection, is to constantly acknowledge our growth and development retrospectively and to answer proactively. I write my plus lessons for the student very heavy-handed. I don't want people to memorize it. I do want you to have a problem and quote this shit and sound like you're a robotic, pathetic version of me. I want you to be called out and say, you're just quoting Sunya's shit. And that's why I write this shit very complex and very wordy. I want the plus lessons I write, I want them to be useful to you, but not something that you just memorize. Like everybody has memorized the Justice Plus lesson, you know? And then, you know, they say it like it's their own. So, the following questions, supremely mathematical in their order and revelation of law, are to aid in our evaluation of progress, future goals, and our realization of our supreme and most unique self. Okay? That's a big-ass sentence. This mean, like, I put these questions kind of in tune with supreme mathematics, and there's to aid in our progress, how we evaluate our progress, how we judge ourselves, what goals we'll continue to have, and how we can make them, and fulfilling the most important thing, ourselves. So the first one is, and again, this is very like the simpler version is what I gave you as the B.A.T, the Build Awareness Square Plus lesson. So the first one starts with knowledge accumulated. So it's books read. We should favor a method of, and again, when I started teaching, and people that know when I started teaching, I was very focused on books and picking certain books that would go with the theme of what I was dealing with them, you know, and I might start that again and maybe pick, since we have, you know, the time here online, I might start doing that because I've always liked doing that. Maybe picking like 2 or 3, at least 1 or 2 books that go along with, let's say, the day's degree or something like that. Something that would supplement the mathematics and or the day's degree or a particular degree, you know? So we should favor a method of charting how much we are learning. To begin with books, note how many pages books one reads each day, every week, every month. How many sources of knowledge, books, documentaries, teachings, writings, lectures, etc. are we exposing ourselves to? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, right? Don't be lazy though. Dark Kim's giving you a service every day though. Don't act like that's the only thing you're supposed to be studying. You know what I mean? You've got to supplement him so you could, and as a student, not because he can't teach you everything you need to know. I'm sure that some of y'all are living out a whole life based on what Dark Kim's videos are about. You know what I mean? And that's okay, right? God gave him civilization and righteousness, right? The thing is, though, is that as a good student, you're not able to challenge him about new stuff that he could give you. You know what I'm saying? Extra stuff, right? What do you mean, Chad? Chad? What do you mean? Where can I find a day's degree? The day's degree is really just today's degree in the 140. Okay, so if today's the, today's the 30th, right? So it doesn't mean the 30th degree in the 1 to 36. It only means the day's degree in the 140. Okay, so tell us what and how the devil was made. That would be the degree. Okay, and you know what? Yeah, so that's the degree. Okay. Today's mathematics, though, is understanding cipher. Understanding cipher is tell us what and how the devil was made. Okay, so if you were to say like, what's the 30th degree, and you wanted the answer of the 136, now you would have to phrase it differently. Okay, all right. All right. So okay, the other parts. Does this properly parts as well? Meaning the sources of knowledge. This is science, math, history, sacred texts, etc. and creative arts recognized and conducive to your needs at the moment. I've always been one that I think that you shouldn't just read books that are information, science books, history books, those things like that. You should also read books. You read creative literature. Okay. You could, and honestly, you could also acknowledge that the arts that you listen to are creative literature. So, hip hop does count, but as far as reading, it doesn't. You got to get something creative, some poetry, something, novels, what have you. You know what I mean? It takes a different reading eye and comprehension to read through creative works than it does to read books on knowledge. Okay? It's totally different framework. So you want to have that diversity. Okay? All right, the second one. First one was knowledge accumulate. Second one is communication awareness. Are we writing anything at all? What are we writing? What format? Poetry, prose, essays, and content. Like, is it about love, politics, social reality, right? Are we favoring? Like, what format and content are we favoring, right? If one expects progress here, they must note how much they write, study the course of their own writings, and favor a mass quantity of work, right? Favor a mass quantity of work that develops into an immense quality. Some people want to write, just since we're talking about writing, we can talk about writing, whether it's MCing, whether it's writing as a writer, published writer, or anything, or any other field. A lot of people forget that to be good at a field, you have to have a mass amount of work before you get to hit the quality that you will achieve. Okay? That's why for example, in music, younger artists, especially in hip hop, because a lot of it is qualitative, like as far as content and stuff. A lot of artists develop later because their first records aren't always great. They develop their abilities later. Okay? All right. Other formats just as vital are your verbal communication skills. Who are you speaking to? And is it in the correct dialect, tone, and content for the audience and environment? Is it effective? Meaning your thoughts are being conveyed with efficacy, right? That means that, you're not beating around the bush and stuff. See, I'm using big words, but a lot of times when you're building, you still have to be, your efficacy counts. So like, if you're building in the street, you have to always assume that you don't have a good, whoever you're building with may not have a good attention span, right? So they actually might lose their attention span. You know what I mean? Yeah, me too, Jack. I love reading autobiographies and biographies. You know, I read a lot of music biographies, and a lot of other biographies. You know, so like when my reading is slow and I'm not really on point as far as reading something heavy, I usually go into like a good biography. And I love reading music biographies, listening to the music of that artist. Mm-hmm. But gives you a different perspective. So I also want you to take note of who you're speaking to. Is it what type of are you doing it in the correct way? What people usually call like code switching. But people don't realize that code switching is not just talking white for white people or in a business. You also want to be able to speak to people though at the level that they're at. You know what I mean? And not, you know, in this classroom, I'm going to speak a little bit more higher. I'm going to try to give you bigger words and all these kind of things or whatever, and make it a little bit more complex because we're here to hear something on that level. And then we break it down from there, you know what I mean? And then show you where to get this stuff, what it means, and so on and so forth, right? Because this is the place that we decided we're going to do this, right? And challenge yourself. That's not really the case, though, when it's in the street, you know what I mean? Or when it's in regular day-to-day conversations with people that you meet, okay? Is your speech effective? Meaning your thoughts are being conveyed with efficacy, right? Also, too, like, what I meant there was, like, sometimes we haven't really learned how to put our thoughts, the deep thoughts that we have, and put them into words. And if you don't think that you're a writer and write them down, then you better learn how to actually get them in your head, you know? You have to practice this. I'd give you an exercise I always practice every, you know, and still do, is that I would try to build on anything with someone that would never bear witness to that build. You know, you pick a parent, right, and try to build in your mind about how you're the true and living God, right? So what you do is you tell them. You do this in your head. You tell them you're the true and living God, blah, blah, blah. And then you think about what they would say in response. And then you come up with your own counter. You know, these are the kind of mental exercises to do. You know what I'm saying? This is also how you write an editorial in a newspaper, because you want to anticipate the things that people would say against you, so your piece is powerful. You know what I mean? And has no one to come up with. And look, you said it's so hard to put my thoughts into words. Then whether by audio, recording them, or writing down more things, you have to practice writing down more things. And you have to practice writing down things that you already know is pretty basic. So you said Illmatic is one of your favorite albums, right? In your journal, write down why you like Illmatic. You see? And if you look at yourself, judge yourself harshly. If you write it has great beats, a lot of albums, I could tell you, a lot of albums you like because they have great beats. What makes it different? You know what I mean? And you keep searching and you keep trying to define what makes something special or what makes it unique. Practice with things that you really enjoy and really love, and describe why you love them and all those kind of things. You know? Right? There you go. You're just beginning. But a lot of other albums have jazz samples, right? So then you would continue on, right? Blowout Comb is an incredible album by Diggable Planets, right? Another classic. Same year. They probably use samples better. So, you know, so what would it be? Hey, Supreme Science, that's a ridiculous clip. 30 books every 2 months? That's not my clip. I don't even have a clip like that. I go 52 a year. I don't really know how much I average every 2 months, though. You know? But I do a lot of writing on everything. You know? I do a lot of writing on everything. You know? But, and mind you, I never took anything like to speed read or anything like that, because one of the problems with like speed reading and things like that is because I never really want to go through it too fast, because I love the way words look on the page, and as a writer and as a poet, I like to see the way words formulate. It's one of the reasons why I never really went into trying to be an MC either, because I love the way words look on the page, you know. So it would destroy the joy of things if I just was speed reading. So I always try to read as fast as I can without just, you know, like just running through it, you know. So usually my speed increases, but I really try to actually just take more time reading, you know. Yeah, you know. But yeah, I read a lot of stuff, you know. I read a lot of stuff. So like when my writing, just my journal alone, my journal has to have at least 25 pages written every week. So that way, if it's a 200-page journal, I will have written like about, what is it, 200, a journal every 2 months. So that's about 6 journals a year. You know, that's the pace I try to go at. Yeah, you know. But I would say this though, right? I think Supreme Science is me. I think it's fine to lower that clip of reading a little bit to get your thoughts, because your understanding is. I read a lot and I love reading so much, but it's, to me it becomes worthless though if you don't get your understanding out. You know, so you have to get your understanding about these works out as well. You know, definitely have to. You know, want to balance that. You know? Oh no, everything I write, like the books I've published and everything like that, I use the computer for everything. And I've written whole books on this phone here. But the journal is the only thing I like to write with pen. I even have my favorite pen. I love using I'm just saying my obsessions here. I love using the big crystal, you know, crystal bold, because it's 1.6 millimeters. So I like that ballpoint feel, but I like it to be thick and bold. You know what I mean? And a lot of ink. You know, so I got tons of these pens. You know, but I always handwrite my journals. You know what I mean? It's the one thing I like to handwrite. You know, just gives me that joy of writing with my hands. But I like to write things I publish and things I write on the computer, on using a computer, laptop, or whatever, phone, because my mind works by copy paste and rearranging things. I can't rearrange things like that on the page. It just becomes too sloppy. You know what I mean? So yeah, 25 type page. Yeah, that would be kind of nuts. Yeah, you know, that would be kind of nuts. You know, I have to find a balance, because the journal, the personal journal, is the practice. That's the practice, you know. So you need to do that, because that's what strengthens myself as a writer. But I also need to have lots of time to write what I really want to write and share, the books and the articles. So it's a lot of stuff to balance. You know what I mean? Okay. Right. So that's the key. You know. Paramahansa Yogananda had this understanding in this small book called Scientific Informations. He said that for every page you read, you should be able to write 3 pages of understanding or your insights on it. Now, I haven't found that to be the case. To try to do that, because I'd be there forever and I'd never read a book. But there's a lot of thoughts to be had when you read things. You know, what I think about reading comic book or graphic novels, I think that you should only eat. You should eat properly. So have your cheat foods when you have your cheat foods. No, I'm just kidding. Be like a real asshole about it. It's creative literature. I never get to read that many comic books because I've jacked so many books digitally. So we have a big library, Peace Course. Like, you guys are tapping into my library. That's like over 1,400 books right now. Almost actually 1,500. So, because comic books aren't really something I collect, and it's not something you could read digitally, I never really went and got them like that, collected them in any kind of way. But sometimes when I go to the library, I do pick up comic books, and I like to see different types of stories and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's worthwhile. Graphic novels, like I've read some of the Batman ones and stuff, really dope and really creative. And I'm a creative writer, so yeah, it's dope. So I think it's all of that stuff should be in the arsenal. You need to balance all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So you should be reading your history books, all that kind of stuff, all that. You know what I mean? Right. Well, Black Prophet, don't don't do that. Don't put those thoughts on social media, though. You know what I mean, always temper your thoughts. Like when I go and do a show and I put my thoughts out about an artist and their work. When I do that, when I do my reviews or whatever, you have to filter that a lot of ways, though. So, and not everything is for the public, though. Always hold your understanding, though. Hold your understanding sometimes for certain things. You know what I'm saying? Don't always run to throw it out there. Right? Yeah, that's peace. Get close to your degree, man. Right? So now let's continue, right? I don't know if I'll be able to get through all of this, though. I don't want to rush it, though. So if this has 10 questions, let's say I do 5 of these, and then we could do the next 5 for the next class. So I'll do 5. If I finish 5, then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to talk about other things so we can get maybe I come up with a homework before the end of the class assignment, and we'll do the next 5 progress questions, because these are progress questions. How are you judging your progress, right? So the third one is health. And of course, this became simplified in the way I developed the build a win square thing. So that's why the similarity here. This is the prototype. Health. The progress of health first begins with your diet. The vegan diet, focusing on living foods consumed as opposed to being a weekly living banner of what is not eaten, should consist of chlorophyll-rich juices, pure water, fruit, vegetables, grains, and legumes as a core. Let me simplify that sentence. For me, all right, this is me. Since I started, I was a vegan before I even got an ounce of, before I was even teaching at the school for years. I teach that the peak of a living foods diet is to have a near complete vegan diet, okay? For me, my diet is near 100% vegan. The only thing that I consume that isn't vegan is when I go eat, because technically not, is when I have honey, okay? And I love honey, and it'd be messing up my body fat percentage. So I don't even have that much. You know what I mean? And since I mentioned it, now it's going to be in my mind. And now tomorrow, we're going to go get some honey and eat some honey. But the thing is, I care about you researching foods by what is quality for you and not just what you don't eat. Right? And that's why I don't always like to say vegan. Maybe we say plant-based, we say living foods, because you try to think like, are these living nutrients that's going into me? That's the way I want you to think. You know what I mean? Not just, I don't eat that, I don't eat this, I don't eat that. You know what I'm saying? For everything that you say you don't eat, I want you to know that you need to have something that you do eat, okay? And that's what I meant by that sentence. Supplements should start with the inexpensive, highly effective antioxidants of B-complex. You get yourself a B-complex. Vitamins, they got these vegan. You should look in no pork in the gel caps. Vitamin C, I prefer a powder if you're going to use vitamin C. Mind you, all nutrients, I'm talking about nutrients, but all nutrients are made synthetically. No one has collected millions and millions of orange peels and made vitamin C for you in one tiny container. Okay, that would take forever. So the process for a lot of these vitamins is really horrendous. It is grossly disgusting. But in a world that is denatured, though, I would rather have you supplement a body that is weak and insufficient nutritionally with these vitamins than just live terrible and looking like crap, okay? Because sometimes people are like, no, it's not exactly, and then I'm looking at people and their diet is trash and they need some shit because they look sickly, okay? And that's one thing about being vegan and stuff. You lose weight because you're thinking about what you're not eating, and you're not eating shit. And what you're eating, though, isn't really supplementing you at all, All right, so I mentioned vitamin C, green tea with the proper oils, including coconut oil, copressed olive oil, omega-rich, and omega-3 rich oils. So there used to be people used to only think, even I then thought that the only way to get them was through fish oils. But of course, though, the fish oils, we're getting them from the algae, and now they do make the blue algae omega-3 fatty acid supplements. So there's really nothing that you need to eat meat to get. As all the foods consumed should be organic and fresh, as much as you can. And then you ask yourself, is this summation being worked on or expanded? One thing I'll add on to it, right, real quick, because we're not going through living foods protocol today in this class session, and I will if you guys want me to. Right. You have to look though. They'll tell you if the gel caps are vegan or vegetarian. If they don't say, always assume that it's not, right? But one thing about the diet though, it's the mentality of the diet. That's the most important thing. And you'll see that when I go through the living foods protocol with everyone. The main thing to think about as far as your diet though is learning this diet is not, I'm telling you, be a vegan, do this. I think everyone needs to learn about the vegan diet, even if they don't do the vegan diet. You need to learn how to use a vegan diet to detox yourself. So even if you decide to continue to eat beef, chicken, or whatever it is you're eating, right? If you decide to continue with dairy products, right? You still eat your pizzas and things like that, or whatever. You still need to know how to detox yourself at certain moments in time from all those things, okay? And knowing and understanding how to use the vegan diet though is key. I don't know if peanut butter has omega-3s though. You gotta be careful. I don't know if that's a source of omega-3. You know? It's a good. I'm allergic to peanuts. So I don't eat peanut butter. Yeah, they're mainly, from what I'm looking here, they're mainly omega-6. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't mean it's bad for you, but it's mainly omega-6. You would eat peanut butter really for the quality fats and stuff. You know what I mean? Well, like, you're not eating pork or beef, so that's really good, though. So what you want to do is make sure, no, it's not, first cure. If your diet is horrendous, so it may not be because the things that you're not eating. It may be because you're also eating a lot of processed food and things like that. So, like, your diet's never going to feel good, though, if you don't couple it with what you're eating and then relate it to how you're training your body. And that's the next progress question. But that's how you work on it. Why don't you consider honey vegan? It's not me that doesn't consider honey vegan. To tell you the truth, I consider it I do consider it vegan because I don't consider it. It's definitely not the flesh, and it's definitely not from the body, but it is produced by secretions from the bee. So that's why, like in general, when you research, people don't consider honey vegan. You know what I mean? So in most vegan denominations, they don't consider honey vegan. For me, that's hardly enough to not use it. I mean, if you're going to McDonald's, though, you're killing yourself, dude. So you already know what to do. There's no need for me to tell you. Like, you already know. Right? I'll tell you one thing. If you have problems eating a diet, though, then make a diet that has a nice cheat meal at the end. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I do. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm having trouble with my diet, though, then I have a nice cheat meal. And I try to even make the cheat meal something that has some quality in it. So, like, I'll give you an example. For me, my cheat meal is literally like granola cereal. Because granola cereal, they be putting some sugars in there. It doesn't matter where you get it from. So that ends up being my cheat meal. Or some, plantain chips, But I'll make a goal for myself. So I always, I'm like, don't worry about it. I'm going to have this goodie at the end of the week. So I'll be good. You know what I'm saying? I can hold it and then I'll enjoy it. You know what I mean? Right? And then I train hard so that way, if I want to have a little bit of, ice cream, obviously vegan ice cream, but it's still a treat. It's tons of sugar. If I want to have some ice cream with, my children or my niece, then I could do that. You know what I'm saying? And I won't feel guilty about it. Because your own mindset she'll add fat on you. Just your own mindset being pissed off at yourself. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's how you do it. And I'm going to go through more of that as we go along. Okay? Let me read these other questions to ask yourself about health. Are we eating to live, where our foods give us the nutrition to create the energy necessary? We talk about eating to live, but a lot of us don't judge the foods by, is this food going to give me the good energy to do certain things? Some people eat really like a bad choice of food and then say, I'm going to go read, and then they fall asleep. So We're going to go through them next time. But you want to think about what you're actually eating as, is this going to actually be useful for me? You know, especially you got things to do. And let's say, for example, somebody will be doing that super, like, immediately. So they go, I need this coffee because I need to. But will the coffee have a good effect on you later in the day? You know, so you have to judge all of these things, not just the immediate, but the future long term. You know what I mean? Right? So, Kira, all I can say is be the leader. You know what I'm saying? Be the leader. You know, if they're going to eat McDonald's, then be the leader and say, we'll eat something different. You know, and if you're paying for stuff, you definitely can lead. You know what I'm saying? Right? Are we furthering our supplementation? Vegetarian protein powder, vegan protein powder, green and red chlorophyll powders, more antioxidants, other useful herbs, better water and air purification, right? With the earning of more funds. You know, as we get more money, do we buy just more polo, right? That's what I want to do. But do we get some more nutrients? You know what I'm saying? Right? Do both, you know, get more polo and then get more nutrients. You know what I'm saying? And try different nutrients. You know what I'm saying? I talked about caffeine. We could always supplement caffeine with something that I find way better and no real side effects. Not that I find, I've never used it for years. You have the market tea. Okay? Or you could use right? Which also tastes really good, right? And if you want to get those, I can give you the links to where you could buy those really cheap. You know what I mean? Right? So there's always, the more research you do, there's more things you can find though to replace anything. And you gotta have some discipline. Okay? Just because I said we're doing something healthy doesn't mean that the unhealthy foods stop tasting good. You have to really work hard to make bad foods taste bad. So, you know, it's when yeah, just text me so that way I could answer you right back. You know what I'm saying? You know, contact me because I can't remember everybody. Okay? Right? So oh, that's peace. Oh, that's peace. Yo, God, Black Prophet, you're the god on the Twitter, right? What's your handle on Twitter? Our brothers be having different names on Twitter and everything. I'm speaking to the same brother I already know, and then I'm like, who's this? You know what I mean? Better clothes, Supreme Scientist. Better, I mean, you know, I was knighted a low life in 2016, so I already love the polo. But one thing I'll say, besides making nicer clothes, the quality though. Comparing the shirts that I bought years ago with the polo shirts I bought years ago, those other shirts are all destroyed, and the polo is still fresh. To me, a lot of Ralph Lauren though has better, crisper colors. Also, you know, it's a better sewn. Definitely, that's right. The lone low life with the home sewn garment. But this one, no, this one is not custom. This one I actually got it like this with the actual letters like this. The PRL, you know, CO. Yeah. Ralph, they actually made it like this. You know what I'm saying? But other polos, I'll patch up something on. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't know, you know, but yeah, no, you know, like it's a hip hop thing. You know what I'm saying? It's a hip hop thing. It, when I wear it though, it also shows that those aspects of that we advocate as low lives, that love and loyalty, the principles that we're trying to make as a hip hop organization, that we're about, or creativity, we're about love and loyalty, we're about that unity. So it's also in a lot of ways a hip hop uniform for me. You know what I mean? And I'm talking about for myself. You know what I'm saying? Right, yeah. Right. Oh yeah. That would have been dope too. Yeah, you know. Yeah. But let's see. Yeah, because it's Polo Ralph Lauren company, right? But okay. So I finished the health thing, and again, I'm gonna go through health real in detail. You know what I mean? That's right. That's my big bro, Thurston Howell. You know what I mean? He's the one that named me Skill Straight Low. So when you see me name Skill Straight Low, that was him. But number four question. When you're judging your progress, what question you want to make is your training. Okay? Every one of you should be trained. If you don't think training was important, though, to have a physically fit body of exceptional durability and strength, then just look at this virus, though, and that whatever modicum, whatever bit of health that you have, a lot of people have been surviving off that bit of health and that knowledge of health that they have had, you know? Right? Definitely, you know? So the training program, I wrote here, peace, God. Firstly, is there any exercise at all? I know it sounds basic, but some of y'all ain't exercising at all. You know what I'm saying? Some people, they always want to train with me in Kung Fu, and I say you have to do 50 push-ups in a row, and they can't do it. You know what I'm saying? They can't do it. Right? So that's terrible. You know? That's terrible. You know, you got to be able to control your own weight. You know? And it also, if you were creative, if you were making creative things, it makes you more creative. It brings your creativity. Okay? Right? Is there any exercise at all? How sedentary are we in our lives? Let's say, for example, like the jobs that you live, the jobs that you have right now, quarantine, you're more sedentary. Okay? Because of that, though, we don't get to go outside. We're not doing as much things outside, so we don't walk as much. So even myself, I train regularly, but I have like a 2-hour session, right? The way I've broken it up is that I've also added things like a completion throughout the day of 500 push-ups a day, right? So I do that regular workout, but I also have to complete 500 push-ups in 50-minute brackets throughout the day. That way, if I'm writing and reading, I'm sitting down all day, I revigorate myself by getting on that floor and get myself pumped up. You know what I'm saying? Right? But here's the thing, though. The point, you know, it's just a benchmark. You know, it's just a benchmark, the 50, right? But the thing about it, right? Absolutely, yeah. Do the analysis. Sea moss, black seed oil. Gotta have all those things. Black seed oil, though, for me, black seed oil really, any type of sickness that has been coming, though, every time I've used black seed oil, I only have to use it like once. And it just gets me going. Like, I'm good. So I have a tendency to save the black seed oil when I have it, though, because I use it for extreme measures. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my extreme measures joint. Because it works so quickly for me. You know what I mean? If you're going to train, start out with 4 days. Okay? And then the next week, do 5. But stay at 5, definitely. I train 6 days a week, though. Okay? I train 6 days a week. But that's just me. Okay? And because where I'm at, though, I don't have access just yet because I haven't been able to bring them back to all my heavy weights. So that's also why I'm training 6 days a week. You know what I mean? I have to over challenge the muscles. You know what I mean? But my heaviest weights only go up to 30-pound dumbbells. You know, so I'm regularly, you know, bench pressing like 85-pound dumbbells. So it's a big difference. You know what I mean? Right? And I'm a little guy, so, you know, that's a lot for me. Because you got to find, as a note, when you're lifting, I know Black Power Fit, he be lifting, looking like action figure over here, right? Peace of God. Sometimes it's good to go, you could lift your max all the time, though, but it doesn't always chisel you out, though. You have to you figure out that max, but then you figure out, like, that range, like, right a little bit below it, because you could also burn out. Like, I was benching 100-pound dumbbells and getting like 10 reps at my peak, but it wasn't helping my martial arts, and it was making me a little slow, and it also was breaking down my body, though, especially my hands and stuff. Couple that with all the punching, all the stuff, it was really breaking down my fingers and hands and stuff, so I had to chill. You know, so I found that measure, you know what I'm saying? But you won't get there if you don't figure it out. You know what I mean? And I'll have a training segment, though, later. Since we're doing this, I could teach some stuff. But figure out how sedentary you are. Like, as your lives changes, How much are you sitting down? Is sitting down too much? You got to figure out what you can do. You know what I mean? How can we make time or more time for exercising? Is the training proper? Is the training properly developing full body strength conditioning and an intense aerobic workout? In other words, you know, keep it simple. Strength training, you know, that aerobic, that HIIT training. Strength training, HIIT training. Strength training, HIIT training. Right? High intensity interval training. You're getting the heart rate up and also building strength. That's, you know, then we could add in the martial arts or all that stuff after. You know what I mean? If you go back into a couple of the episodes before, the notes are in there. Episode. Classes prior, I have in the notes where I taught the complete breath. You got to treat your lung like a muscle. And that's one of the most important exercises that I do want you to do when you're being sedentary. So if you watch your television, practice that complete breath. Go back and follow that, or email me if you want the book, The Science of Breath, and I'll give it to you. Okay? Yeah, you know, and I don't have no problem with lifting heavy. I think lifting heavy is fine as long as you learn how to master your weight. You know what I'm saying? Because lifting heavy always challenges the muscle. You know what I'm saying? Don't get it twisted. Bruce Lee was lifting heavy. You know what I mean? Yeah, cure, any kind of action, any kind of exercise is always going to defeat depression. Okay? Always. Okay? Right? So you always want to do something. Let's say you ruin the entire day, you do no exercise. I don't care what it is. Do some push-ups until failure before you go into that bed. I don't care if you sweat up your pajamas. You know, but always try to answer something that you did. Always try to answer to the things that you didn't do good with something good. Okay? If you mess up, be in that moment. Don't try to forget it. Be in the moment and try to go into it. You know what I mean? What's your take of 65 to 80% max of heart rate performance? I don't know what 60% of my or 80% max of my heart rate, because I would have to, when I train, I do HIIT training. I go all out because I need to know I'm training to fight. So I have to go all out. I have to see how far I can take my body all the time. So, and whether it's with reading, writing, learning, studying, training, I don't really I don't want to put and ever want to put a limit to how intense I can go. So even if I said I'm not lifting heavy because it breaks me down, no, I did find that limit. And now when I train, let's say now with 85-pound dumbbells regularly, I'm lifting those till failure. So a lot of my training, I'm doing it till failure. Certainly when I train and when I do martial arts and when I do HIIT training, I go to failure. You know, like every workout is done and done correctly. Just like when I write until all the thoughts are in that paper. When I read, whatever set amount of time I have, I read as intensely and as much as possible as I can. You know what I mean? I don't do anything where I say, that's a good amount of stuff. I'm good here. This is a good amount of work I did. I do everything all the way. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know what we're here for. You know what I'm saying? No? Because no matter what, when you train every day, when you do everything, not every day is going to be your best. You know what I'm saying? You can have whole weeks of working out though and do all of them messed up and have a horrible training week. That's just the way it goes. You know what I'm saying? But as long as you were intensely trying to strive, like for sometimes I do a lot of jump because I have a confined space now. I can't, and I'm not going outside. I'm literally not going outside unless it's to get things. So I'm not doing sprints outside. I'm doing jump rope HIIT training. Sometimes I could do all this fancy shit with the rope and go really great. Other days, I can't do like a minute without tripping up on the rope. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes it doesn't always work. You know what I'm saying? Right? And yes, God, that's very important, God. You always gotta have your word is bond is first and most importantly practice with yourself. You know? The reason people that are great keep their word is bond, their word is, you know, their word bond with everything is because they keep it with themselves. Alright, tell the God give me his ego. Now they let me know. Alright? because I can't send the books or anything like that through, you know, the Facebook Messenger. All right, so the fourth thing, along with the training program advocated in the Peace course, right, that's me, is the martial arts, particularly Chao Kung Fu, physical training that adapts to the physical and mental contours of each individual's body and mentality in a peaceful intensity and righteous fury that is as coordinated as a cipher. Kung Fu training, there is a focus on mental creativity applied through a full body awareness, manifesting advanced Qi Kung breathing techniques. Qi is energy, Kung is hard work for endless energy attained. Regardless, though, of the training, exercise must increase muscle mass and or capability, energy, flexibility, and allow the mind's thoughts to blend effortlessly with the body. Okay? This is all one thing. You're trying to break the divide between mind and body. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Right. Don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Don't believe anything that you're doing. Don't believe your own mind. You know what I'm saying? You want to go until you're done. You know? And I'm saying when you're done, that's when your workout is finished. And then if you're getting done too early, that's where you start to make goals though. I have to do this or it's not. That way you could develop a consistency. You know what I'm saying? Right? So the last thing that I'm going to go through today, because we're past 3 hours, is learning to learn. All right? In the practice questions, the fifth one out of the 10 that I'm going to leave it here is, are you taking notice and detailing the methods by which you learn? How does one memorize 120 lessons? How does one retain them? What formats of knowledge are more suitable to them? Documentaries, lectures, group building, books. For example, for the student, the reading of the book is the epitome of his or her role. However, the well thought out choosing of that book is in the role of self-teacher, as one is assessing the personal readiness in the level of difficulty, subject specificity, and questions expected to be answered. In learning to learn, one is taking note of how one takes in information, keeps knowledge, and remembers important principles of thought encountered or manifested in thought. Right? Actually, I remember the Ali quote. Spend time learning how you learn, okay? And realizing that some of the activities are also you as a teacher of yourself, like when you're picking a book, okay? I'm gonna keep it there because we're past the 3 hours. So if there's any question that you guys really want me to answer right now, or if you think would be good for the cipher, let me know right now before I let it go. But with all this though, even if it's about basketball, even if it's about anything, have a discerning mind. Me and the God, we talked about basketball. We went back and forth about his incorrectness about Dr. J and my correctness about Jordan. I gotta do it. The thing is, though, is that you study all things, and you value the art that you're watching, you know what I'm saying? And not take things frivolously. I even want you to analyze sitcoms and why you like the jokes here and why you like the jokes there, what type of jokes are there. See the science in all things and the appreciation in the arts as well. It's very important. You know what I mean? But because honestly, now I'm gonna go watch some Dr. J clips though. You know what I mean? And not even to enjoy Dr. J, but just so I can actually prove Dark Kim wrong again. You know what I mean? But but even still, if there's no questions, I'll let you guys go. Any questions, go to my email. Go to the 5% media page. I could be contacted there too. I even have an email there if you email me through there. And it takes you to my social media too. So any of these forms, you can email me. But if I send you things, I need your email address. You know what I'm saying? So definitely send me that. You know what I'm saying? And then I'll get you with all the stuff as I go along. And if I don't get you in time, if it's like Saturday or Sunday, you could remind me. You're not being a jerk like that. That's what I did with my teachers though. I was bothering knowledge me all the time for the next set of lessons. You know what I'm saying? And you do the same, That's blasphemy. That's blasphemy. The league had great players though, so that Jordan made you forget about him. Yeah, that's not, I don't be able to stand to. What's more true is that the league is soft now. The league is soft. A guy like Jordan that will score 50 points a game. And Dr. J, the way he jumped and stuff, the way he flew through the lane, though, I mean, come on. There's no lane. There's no lane. But with that note, with that last note, though, I want to say peace to everyone, though. Stay healthy, stay balanced, stay strong, keep building in all areas, though. And, build strong, create things, create things, all right? Peace to the gods and earth, peace to all the human families, all right?